Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Global Championship here on YouTube, powered by GT Omega. We've seen pretty brilliant races so far. What has round number 4 got in store? Next to the Caspian Sea, it is the Baku City Circuit. It is time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge. Joining me in the commentary box once again is Joshua Davis. And Josh, judging by what we've seen so far this season, judging by what we've seen in plenty of league races across Baku, it should be an exciting evening.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome back everyone to the Global Championship. Of course, here at Azerbaijan played host to the European Grand Prix in 2016, changed its name to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017. But yeah, it should be a pretty tasty affair. Obviously, we've seen a few leagues over the past couple of days having a few interesting battles, but hopefully we should keep it fairly clean and all okay tonight. Hopefully do get a little bit of action, but not too much action, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it should be a fairly exciting race. Obviously, TF10, Oscar Villacampa, and it is joined by Fabrizio Donoso tonight. Fabrizio did lose that win at Silverstone from that pit lane infringement, which probably was quite fair. I knew a few people may have different opinions, but I think it was fair. The penalty just crossed the line there, which did give the win to Lenny Pepinta, and is now for 2 for 2, looking for a hat-trick of wins tonight at Azerbaijan. He's been in absolutely incredible form this season and season with ADRT, so hopefully they can try and bounce with some good results tonight. But we never know. We should see a pretty decent race tonight, but we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully we can see a new victor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go. We've had 3 different people cross the line first in races. 2 of them have been TF10. They are still, though, yet to claim their first win. In fact, I think they're still yet to claim actually their first podium of the season due to penalties. See how the championship is at the moment, though. Second place for Duncan Hoffland after he got his penalty removed means VSR are on top now with 76 points. Race Clutch second on 54, but is extremely close for that second place. And you'll notice a new name at the bottom of the standings. We've said goodbye to R8G. Unfortunately, they are unable to field a team for the rest of the season, but we've got a team that you know plenty about, Josh.
Yeah, Paradox Sim Racing, my team. I can finally be joined with my team. It's a great honour to be part of them. Obviously, we've had such a great Xbox team over on the Xbox side of things, progressing to the PC side of things. Great to see Caden Lutt, obviously the Challengers driver from the season on the PC platform, and Andrew Karapi, who makes his way to the PC side of things after an unfortunate season on Xbox. Just in that Challenger season, just couldn't quite get in towards the top 6, but a brilliant effort nevertheless. But he joins the PC squad along with some of the greats, so it should be a very, very interesting race. Should be a fantastic drive. Obviously, in reserve we do have Harvey Cohen as well, who's come to join us as well, so should be a very, very good few season for the rest of the season for them. So hopefully they can get a few points and get up towards the field.
Yeah, you can see the teams on there. We'll just go through what could be a few of the bits of big news. Shazoo, unfortunately, looks like they're only going to be able to field one driver for tonight. That is going to be Yerne Dovzan. And there were quite a large amount of penalties last time around, especially qualifying bans. So Duncan Hoffland for VSR, he has a qualifying ban. Primoz Miklavčić has a qualifying ban as well for WOR Esports. That's both due to I think it was a 5-second penalty being converted to a qualifying ban for WOR, and then we had Duncan Hoffland going off circuit last time out, and Marcus Cowler will also serve a qualifying ban for running wide at COP. So it's going to be quite a quiet first qualifying session, and definitely an opportunity for maybe some teams, some drivers that have struggled a bit more in qualifying to get themselves further up the order.
Yeah, definitely so. I think we should only see the one elimination this race with P16 going out. So yeah, it definitely gives an opportunity for a lot of the drivers who haven't really got a good start to the season in qualifying. Obviously, the likes of ET8 and FER to try and get out of Q1. It definitely brings a good shot for them to bring themselves up the table ever so slightly. So I think a few people maybe just a little bit just taking Q1 a little bit less serious. Well, I say less serious, a little bit slower, a little bit more easy, if you like, to make sure they go through, which they should probably do. Only one driver getting eliminated in Q1, so it should be a fairly decent affair. But yeah, it should be fantastic few laps we have. 26 laps around Azerbaijan, full qualifying first, and yeah, we can't wait to get going.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to get going. But Azerbaijan, Baku, kind of a unique street circuit in a way. You've got that very twisty part around the old city, the castle section, famously, where we've seen some F1 drivers look very stupid over the years, and they haven't been afraid to admit that themselves. And of course, the incredibly long flat-out section all the way from the exit of turn number 16, I believe it is, all the way towards turn number 1 is completely flat out. We've seen many slipstreaming, many battles there towards the end of races, so it could be one to watch out for, especially towards the end of the race, or if we get any safety cars. Drivers aren't gonna want to give the slipstream too easily.
Definitely not. If you are in P2 on the final lap and you get that slipstream out of the final corner, then you are pretty much the race winner. There's not a lot P1 can do about it. Just the slipstream, the DRS, and the ERS is just a little bit too powerful around here, so it's definitely a good shot of a win. If you are stuck in that P2, P3 train, you're more than likely going to get the win. But yes, definitely a very interesting circuit. Obviously, that back straight, one of the longest on the calendar, if not the longest on the calendar. So that's definitely one to look out for. Obviously, the twisting and turning corners, especially the castle section, as you said. A few people can look a little bit stupid around there. Charles Leclerc, 2019, if that's quite memorable for you. So yes, a very pretty decent circuit. It should be a lot of twists and turns that should happen. So definitely going to be very interesting for qualifying and very interesting for the race. Hopefully no one chucks it down the inside willy-nilly. So yeah, it could be a pretty tasty one, but hopefully quite civil as well.
Yeah, I think, like you said, literally there's plenty of twists and turns around every street circuit, and figuratively, there's always that risk, you know, you're never too far away from a mistake, and that's why I always find Baku a lot more challenging than perhaps more traditional street circuits. Monaco being a prime example of that. Monaco's quite slow, and, you know, slow speed nature, it's easy. You just throw on as much downforce as possible, and you'll be quick around Monaco. Around here, you have got to make that compromise. I do think that really does make this a tricky circuit. We see that at Jeddah as well now with such a high speed nature. What we do get around here as well is normally quite high tyre wear. It's another circuit, a bit like we've seen at, we see on other races on this game. Singapore is always one that you see at Bahrain is another one. Could be a lot of drivers aiming for that 11th place in qualifying because they know they're going to have a brilliant opportunity from there.
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously, the strategy is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, there's a few changes, obviously, with the degradation of the track and how the way it's laid out. Obviously, the heat in the desert, if you like, sort of a desert, if you will, the way it's positioned on the map. So Azerbaijan, definitely an interesting one for the tyres. The soft compound tyres don't last very long. The mediums, so the one-stop soft to medium, it's not the great as well. So we may see a few drivers, if they're trying for the undercut, may go onto the hards. You never know, but I think probably with that Q2, a lot of drivers will be trying to qualify on those mediums, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a few in the top 10 trying to sneak in on the medium compound tyres. So I reckon we probably should see a lot of the drivers on the medium compound tyres in Q2, but there'll be a lot of drivers out there, and I definitely know a lot of these quicker drivers. Patrick Sipos, Dylan Moran, Oscar Villacampa, a lot of these drivers for Fabrizio Donoso will be just going to go flat out to try and get that top spot in Q2 to go on the soft compound tyres. But we never know, they may still have a game plan in mind, but we'll just have to wait and see until we get there.
Yeah, we will. It's, with that reduced grid in first qualifying as well, might see drivers trying different things, saving tyres for later on, and I think you're right, we will see quite a few cars try to get into the top 10 on a set of the mediums. If you've seen how close qualifying has been throughout the last 3 races though here at TGC, I think you'll know the chances of that happening are extremely slim. We've seen the championship at the moment, we've seen which teams and drivers are generally doing well. Lenny Papinta obviously didn't quite hit the heights at Imola, where he got the Grand Slam of pole win, fastest lap, leading every lap, but again, two victories in a row for him. He's looking good. Duncan Hoffland keeps picking up consistent performances as well. Another podium for him. He's going to have it all to do, though, starting right towards the back of the grid. At the highest, depending on how things work out with all the qualifying bans, at best, he's going to be starting 17th. Be very surprising if he adds to his 2 podiums tonight.
Yeah, definitely so. Duncan Hoffland and Lenny Papinta have probably been the standouts of the season. Very consistent this season with their first and seconds. I think they've probably been the most consistent out of the teams, out of the whole drivers, to be honest. But it's definitely going to be a very tough task for Duncan Hoffland tonight. 17th at a street race, which is only a handful of overtaking opportunities, mainly down into turn 1. Turn 3, if you're very lucky, if you're very alongside, that's pretty much it. So it's definitely going to be interesting for Duncan Hoffland to make his way up the field, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on the soft compound tyres just to make sure he gets up towards the field, or he may go long on the mediums or even the hards. You know, we never know, but it's definitely going to be a very tough order for Duncan Hoffland and for VSR tonight. So obviously they're bringing in Andrei Tarabukin to the squad, so that will definitely brighten their squad ever so slightly just to see how Tarabukin will do tonight. Hopefully he can try and get in towards Q3, top 7, top 6, definitely possible for him tonight, but we'll have to wait and see how we do and how he does. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very tough order for Duncan Houghton to get into the top 10, maybe even, get onto the podium, maybe even the top 10 even. It's going to be very, very tough for him tonight.
Yeah, it is indeed. I have seen Tarabukin. He put practice videos up earlier on in the week for this circuit. He was racing there as well in another league, as we mentioned over the weekend, so not too surprising to see that the drivers have been doing plenty of practice around there. We have got a few cars readying up now, but it does look as though we are still waiting for one or two maybe to join the lobby. So if if we don't get underway soon, who knows, we might only be 15 cars in Q1, and that'll be great news for everyone. I'm sure they'll be delighted about that once they instantly make their way through to Q2. What we haven't really spoke about, and it does happen quite a lot around here, being a circuit next to the sea, the weather can be fairly unpredictable. Yeah,
definitely so. We could see a few rainy showers around here, but I don't think we've seen one in the past. I definitely haven't seen it in the past in league racing, nor have I seen it in real life. So it definitely can cause a few scratches, obviously. With the game being fairly unrealistic, we may see a couple of showers here and there. We may have even seen showers at Abu Dhabi. I've definitely seen a few showers there, so we may see a few showers here tonight. So hopefully for the drivers' sake, it should stay dry, but probably the majority will probably say it's going to be dry, and I think it probably will stay dry. But we're about to get into qualifying now, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. I think it's Bahrain now is the only circuit on this game or any Formula 1 game where I haven't seen any rain come down. The only rain everyone always says in Bahrain is in the title, and who knows, maybe even on future F1 games we will be able to get that. But we are going to be getting underway with qualifying very shortly. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Yerne Dovzan has been able to make it, so there's only going to be 15 cars for Q1, which I'm not quite sure how this works. I'm not sure if the game's going to skip us instantly into Q2. I think everyone's just as much about in the unknown as this, but it does take a bit of that pressure off and allow drivers just to, maybe try different things if they want to, experiment a bit on the tyres. If they've not had too much running, they might even be able to get themselves a bit of race running in. We'll just have to wait and see how things go. It looks like we are, though, shortly headed into Q1. Don't be surprised if everyone instantly retires from this session.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, obviously. 15 drivers, you're fairly safe through. A few drivers are electing on the intermediate compound tyres. Jack Leverty is going for the intermediates just to make sure everything's working okay on his setup. So we probably may see a few drivers on the intermediates, maybe just to set a few times to make sure they've all going fairly smoothly. We should be hopefully waiting for Yerne Dobson for Shazoo momentarily. I'm not sure where he is. Hopefully he can join as quickly as possible. But yeah, 15 drivers on the field in Q1, so everyone will be going into Q2. So brings off the pressure ever so slightly, but definitely going to be interesting once we head into Q2.
Yeah, it will be indeed. That'll be the first time anyone will really go out in anger. You're not going to want to really push things too hard in this qualifying session. End up in the wall. We've seen plenty of, obviously in reality, qualifying red flags. Who knows? Maybe in F1 2022 we'll be able to get the red flags back again. But we have got one of the TF10 drivers heading out there. Fabrizio Donoso was so good in qualifying last time around in all conditions. Again, he'll be hoping for a decent run in qualifying. It's not a long run here towards turn number 1. There is the opportunity, though, to get overtaken on the way down towards the first car.
And you'll be seeing yourself right in towards the wall. But hopefully we shouldn't see any of that today. Everyone will keep it fairly civilised. I think there's a few action in the general just to see whether they're going to retire or not. I think a few drivers are going to go set a lap on the intermediate compound tyres, make sure everything's working okay. We'll set a lap just generally to make sure it's swiftly into Q2. But Fabrizio Donoso leading the way out on the track. Obviously looking for a little bit of redemption from Silverstone. Obviously that win was taken away from him from post-race penalties, so it's going to have to maybe unleash a different Fabrizio Donoso that we've never seen before, and hopefully can definitely try and get this race win under, and hopefully without any interpretations that may happening to him.
Yeah, indeed. Apologies for the slight disconnection issue there. It did look like OBS threw a bit of a fit. For about 10 or 15 seconds you were getting no footage, but it looks like it is nice and back to normal then. So we'll follow Fabrizio Donoso around. We'll see how much of a lap he's going to do on this set of intermediate tyres. I imagine surely everyone is just going to retire from the session. There's no point risking it, hitting yourselves into the wall at the moment, or really going all guns blazing. But it looks like Donoso is going to at least attempt to set a lap at the moment. Heading now on the run down towards the first corner goes Fabrizio, nice and tidy through there. Obviously it's traditional street circuit. This part, obviously, all very 90-degree corners.
Yep, definitely so. All 90 degrees, so fairly straightforward with the turning in. You don't have any tricky, fast left-hand corners to throw you off, so all fairly straightforward in that sense. Castle section is probably the trickiest corner to get right, obviously. Almost around flat out in the first couple of sectors, but wow, around there in the first left-hander. So you have to take that a little bit cautiously, but all other left 90-degree corners. So a fairly easy track to learn. Just a little tilt to the right and a little tilt to the left, and you should be all okay. So yeah, it should be a fairly interesting one. Fabrizio Donoso will be setting his first few laps on the intermediate compounded tyres as he heads on towards the castle section, keeping it fairly tight, so all even on his intermediate run. Hop on towards the left. It should be a fairly easy run down towards the line. Obviously a few people on medium compounded tyres, obviously one on the softs, so that's FER with Altero de Hawan and Buelam Izar on the softs, with Dewan on the mediums, as Karapi is preparing his medium runs as well. So a few drivers electing for the mediums and one on the softs, but everyone else on the intermediates, with Dylan Warren on the wets compound tyres, just to make sure everything's working okay. And Fabrizio Donoso will be setting the first lap around here at Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I think doing this more just to make sure that nothing weird happens with the game and it kicks you out of qualifying might be a wise idea. To just set that one lap time. Instead, also going to make his way then towards the finish line in a very unrepresentative lap time indeed. Going to be somewhere in the 1:50s. You'd be seeing a lot faster even if it was raining around here and they were doing this in a normal lap. 1:52.809, the green walled intermediate tyres matching the green Aston Martin, and then obviously Sipos going faster, Tarabukin doing this lap time. We will be seeing drivers, I'm sure, very shortly after they have set times retire from the session. And as Josh has mentioned in the chat, as WR Moon has mentioned as well, there are free qualifying bans at the moment for Primoz Miklavčić, who I think will be starting in 16th place after his qualifying ban. I will be able to confirm the qualifying ban order for you very shortly, get it up on the screen and just let you know where everyone will be starting. It'll be actually Marcus Towler starting in 17th place. This is assuming Yone Dovzan is able to make it. He'll be starting 16th, Duncan Hoffland in 18th, and Primoz Miklavčić down in 19th, and that's because it is a qualifying ban and a free place grid penalty for WOR. So the Challengers driver from the PC will be starting right towards the back of the grid as we get our first real anywhere near a representative lap time, with Arturo Duan heading his way through what is a very easy flat out section in the dry, as long as you've not got any damage to your car. If you've got any issues with your car, if it's raining a bit, it can really catch you out there, and there is no chance of forgiveness if you make a mistake towards that final part of the lap. You will be heading straight towards the barrier, very likely out of the race.
Yeah, definitely so. A little bit of curves or a little bit of VRS, you'll be seeing yourself straight into the wall as Dewan does decide to come out of, does decide to come back in towards the pit lane just to save the tyres. So doesn't decide to go for his lap there, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting corner that if you do take it flat out, you've got to take it with a little bit of caution. Everyone else just setting their lap times then. Dewan obviously abandoning his medium run, so he won't go top of the standings. Everyone else on the intermediate compound tyres. Dylan Warren on the wets on a 2.2881. So he's the slowest driver so far, but will be safely through to Q2 nevertheless. And I think we should be probably seeing everyone retiring from the session momentarily. Lilian Papinta about to cross in towards the final sector and the final corner, and just waiting for him to come around the final corner, set his first lap times. Andrei Tarabukin retires in the pit lane, and I think we probably should be seeing the same from a few soon, as a big crash there down the back straight. A few front wings being changed. I'm not sure what happened there. Just see a massive front wing on my screen. Not sure entirely what happened, but hopefully we should be seeing less of that soon. But as Patrick Sipos retires from the session, so does Jack Laverty, and we should be getting Q2 underway in a few seconds.
Yeah, I think Andrei Tarabukin there just sort of opened the floodgates and everyone will now be retiring from the session. I'm not sure if that was Jack Laverty who lost part of his front wing. His teammate Dylan Warren coming down now, and we are seeing a few more drivers that are retiring from the session. And of course, Buelam Izar, many people, as we just see him as he just loses his front wing. I was about to say, what a fantastic job he has done, of course, because he's currently driving around with one arm faster than what most of us can do with two, because he has got an injury at the moment. So he's basically, obviously he's had to remap things on the steering wheel as well for changing gears. So almost like learning to drive again, I imagine.
Yeah, I saw his time trial lap earlier on. He went third place one-handed. That's just incredible to see that he's in the top 3 in the world around this track, and he's doing it one-handed. That's quite special to see. That's quite interesting to see, to be fair. And he's beaten the likes of, how many drivers have we got in PC? Maybe a couple 100,000. He's top 3, which is fantastic to see, and he can definitely go far in league racing as well. He's absolutely fantastic to watch on a regular, so hopefully he can have a good race tonight. Obviously, hopefully he can try and get a few points for FRR. Just didn't really work out at Silverstone, but he can definitely hopefully get a few points tonight at Azerbaijan, and with that top 3 in time trial, he should definitely be looking to try and get up in towards the top 3 in qualifying as well.
Yeah, FPR having a really good first race of the season, with Alvaro Puerto finishing in 4th place. They have shown pace on occasion. Izar and Codon N'Golo, Arturo Duhan, both did race last time around. It's just not worked out for whatever reason. They've not scored any points since round 1 of the season. Neither of ETA, their fellow Spanish squad. So I think both of them will be hoping for better performances tonight. You can see that Eduardo Gil, he's set a lap time 11th place in Imola in what was horrendous conditions, of course, with the extreme wet weather. Extremely difficult for anyone to get any overtakes in, and we haven't really shown them on the screen too much at the moment. But here are the debutants in the Paradox Sim Racing. Andrew Carapi heading around on the intermediates and needs to be careful that he doesn't knock his front wheel off, because that of course will put you down in 15th on the grid. I think now's the time just to head across the finish line, drive extremely slowly for your in-lap, and then come into the pits. It's very easy to look foolish when you do this going around the track on a set of intermediates or the set of wets.
Yeah, definitely a little bit risky as well. Definitely want to make sure you go through in qualifying. He puts it into P10, 56.081 for him. Bula is retires in the pit lane as Arturo Doan just rounding the final couple of corners now on his medium time. Should shoot up to the top of the table, but yeah, definitely you don't want to be looking like a fool and smash it in towards the wall in the intermediate time. That'll look a little bit stupid, quote Charles Leclerc, but yeah, hopefully less of that in Q2. I think we all should be probably seeing everyone on the dries in Q2. Probably a lot on the medium compound tyres, and as we see, Arturo Doan getting pole position by about 10 seconds there, which is the biggest margin we've seen in Q1. If I'm being honest, as we're usually looking likely to see it, the top 9 separated by less than a tenth. We're seeing 10 seconds between Arturo Del Juan and Patrick Sipos there, which is obviously quite an achievement. But Patrick Sipos on the wet compound tyres in the dry, and Arturo Del Juan on the dry tyres in the dry.
Yeah, I think the other way you'd say a 10-second gap is if I was out there, and I think even then I'd be a bit disappointed if I ended up 10 seconds behind all these drivers at the moment. They will all be making their way towards Q2. They'll all have plenty of fresh sets of soft tyres, so whether we'll see anyone try to get into the top 10 on that set of mediums to go for that alternate strategy, we'll have to wait and see. But all of these will be heading out there, and FER just getting that bit of a glory run at the moment, just getting themselves out on top in a session. It's always just makes you feel nice if you're up towards the top end of the order. So, a reminder of what the grid will look like behind these drivers, as it's not going to show up on screen. Jurne Dovzan will be in 16th, Marcus Towler for ET8 in 17th, Duncan Hoffland for our championship leaders VSR will be in 18th, and Primoz Miklovic for WRR Esports in the Ferrari will be in 19th place. And as soon as Juan Ruiz, Carapi and Warren retire from the session, which will hopefully be in less than 6 minutes time, we'll be able to get ourselves sorted with 15 minutes of Q2, and then of course, for final 12 minutes of Q3 to decide who takes pole position.
Yeah, definitely so. Dylan Warren has decided to go for more on the intermediate compound tyre, so making the qualifying session just last a little bit longer. Dewan is going to go for one more medium time and does improve to a 40.816 there on his medium time. Dylan Warren will be trying to go for one more. I think Dewan will be going for one more as well, as he makes his way in towards turn 2, third gear direction as he heads in towards 4th gear. DRS wide open on the back straight, fairly close to the corner as you hit it as quickly as you can, and then in towards another back straight in towards turn 3, breaking around 100 meter boards. Hop on towards the left, Kimi Raikkonen, Esteban Ocon having a little bit of a tangle all the way back in 2017. Now, if you remember that far around, it was 2018, one of the two, to make their way in towards turn 5, turn 6 for Dewan, 15,000 up through sector 2 as you make your way through the tricky castle section. Hopefully doesn't put it in towards the wall. 100 meters, you want to be braking, cutting that corner as much as you can to gain as much exit as you can. 50 meters, you want to be braking, only kissing the brakes through the castle section. Nicely taken there from De Juan on towards the curb to make your way down the back straight, heading in towards flat out of the left, hitting that curb just a little bit. Just want to kiss it once again in towards the final couple of sectors, cutting that curve as much as you can. You can get away with it with not cutting, but a few people do decide to cut it as you make your way through the final corner, if you like, for Arturo De Juan. 4 minutes 23 seconds left in the session. Dylan Warren just slowing down to let him go. Hopefully he does decide to put it in the pits and retire the car as De Juan pulls up to the final couple of corners on the back straight and should probably go a little bit quicker than is currently best.
Yeah, I think he's just enjoying himself on the mediums at the moment, getting a bit of running out of those. Could be useful to learn for the races. He does go slightly faster by 0.03 of a second on a 1:40.786. He's now a cool 10.2 seconds at the front of the grid. 10.25 seconds, not bad whatsoever. If he's like that in the race, I think everyone would definitely be checking for Google folder if things stayed that way throughout the entire race. Dylan Warren decided he's had enough of driving around on a set of wet tyres, decided to go for something different, a dry track on a set of intermediate tyres. I don't think anyone's ever heard two commentators that are more desperate for cars to retire in the pit lane at the moment. We want to get some proper qualifying on the way, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully should not be too much longer, as Dylan clearly just trying to entertain himself, keep everyone on stream entertained. Hope you are all enjoying this here. Q2, Q3, and then the 26-lap race coming underway. But I've got to say, what we've seen in Q1 so far, there's been a couple of races in Azerbaijan. It seems to be all or nothing in reality. They either are absolutely brilliant, crazy races that everyone remembers, 2017, 2018, and last year's in 2021, or you get ones that were a bit like 2016, and I think the one in 2019 as well, where not a lot really happened.
Yeah, definitely so. If I'm being honest, I can't really remember the 2016 race. I know Nico Rosberg won it, but I can't really remember how the race went, to be honest. It was quite boring, but obviously we saw 2017 was a absolutely fantastic one. Sebastian Vettel going to the back of Lewis Hamilton there, getting a 10-second time penalty, hitting him towards the right. Maybe we'll see that today under the safety car if we do have one. It's been extremely rare we've seen one this season, but it's a definite possibility. You never know, and obviously 2021, we've had the brake magic incident on the restart with Max Verstappen crashing it in towards the wall with his tyre failure. Shouldn't see a tyre failure here tonight, but you never know. We may see it as De Juan retires towards the pit lane. Hopefully Dylan Warren comes to the pit lane. No, he doesn't. He's going to go for one more, because why not? And puts himself in towards P3 on the intermediate compound tyres. Hopefully just does retire on track. There's no one behind, so hopefully the stewards will let him go on that one. But 1 minute 58 seconds left to go. It's definitely was definitely lengthened this qualifying session out tonight, but thankfully does so gives us a little bit of entertainment before the race. But Dylan Warren putting it up into P3 on that 51.297, but a cool 10.5 seconds behind Arturo De Juan on the medium compound tyres and a 40.786.
Yeah, he's just going for a bit of his own glory here, a bit of pride. Can he be the fastest person on a set of intermediate tyres? It's not a battle I expected to be seeing when we saw what the weather was like. He's a quarter of a second behind at the moment, and he's 2 seconds down on his personal best, so it's not gone well for him in the first sector. I think, unsurprisingly, you know, we talk about interslicks. That's normally done once they've worn out on a wet track. They will be absolutely cooking at the moment, will those tyres. Plenty of corners anyway. You can get a bit tough for all these as you take it very careful around the castle section, the old part of the town, this sort of Baku Street circuit mixing the old and the new. And I don't know if anyone's ever seen the traffic photo on the run down towards turn number 1 when it's open to the public. I think I'd rather drive an F1 car towards turn number 1. It's something like 15 wide and they all seem to funnel into 3 lanes. How on earth they do it without any accident? Who knows indeed. So yeah, Dylan Warren now just heading towards the end of the lap. And hopefully he'll either dive it off towards the pits and retire from the session, or we're going to get to see how he does for his third run on this set of the intermediate tyres. Andrew Carafi saying in the Discord that he did very nearly lose it. I think we saw a couple of other drivers lose their front wings as well. Izar, and I'm sure it was Jack Laverty. Apologies if that was wrong, but it was definitely Jack or the car he was just behind as Dylan Warren heads towards the pit entry. That could be a very contentious pit entry later on, but beautifully done by Mr. Warren, keeping it inside the lines. Absolutely perfectly there. And Arturo De Juan, fastest in the first section. A session in which we've not really learnt anything.
Definitely not, apart from De Juan Looks on the pace on the medium compound tyres, 40.7, 10 seconds clear of everyone. What an absolute fantastic job he's doing there. But Dylan Warren likes to keep us on the toes there. But thankfully, we do retire in the pit lane. Hopefully, he could have done one more lap just to make it a little bit exciting, but we never know. He definitely just wants to get that out of the way. 13 seconds spare, but getting all the intermediate tyres. He could get out of there. Just a little bit of practice. Maybe if it is a wet race, but we never know. But heading into Q2, it is Arturo Doan on pole position. Well, I say on pole position, topping the timing sheets there with that lap. But yeah, pretty decent from him. But hopefully you can see a little bit more from him in Q2, as he definitely gets the biggest gap we've seen in Q1 this season.
I think it's the biggest gap I've ever seen in any Formula League racing. Maybe if there were some races around the Nürburgring, you might see a gap like that. But I think even then you'd be thinking, ooh, that's a bit of a big one. Yeah, hopefully it won't be too long before we are able to get ourselves back underway. All the drivers heading out there. It looks like we have still got all 15 cars as well, which is a delight. I know one of those was a bit worried. I think Izar was just slightly worried for a second that he was not going to be able to make his way towards the session because he didn't set a lap time. But thankfully for him, we can confirm that is not the case, and everything is hunky-dory, and we are able to get ourselves back underway then, heading out towards this qualifying session, and a few cars heading out straight away, and that mix between mediums and soft tyres. Conventionally, this is what we normally see in Q1, drivers doing one lap on a set of mediums and then doing more on the softs. Do we think anyone's going to have enough of a pace advantage to make this top 10 on the yellow wall tyres?
I mean, it's very, very interesting. Obviously, there's only a few drivers on the mediums: Jan Haladej, Andrei Tarbukin, Patrick Sipos, Leonard Gutz, Andrew Karapi, Lenny Papinta, and Ruben Petrenos. There's a little bit of a split between the mediums and the softs, but looking at that, a lot of people are electing for the softs unless they are going to bail on that soft lap and just go on to the mediums. We never know, but it's definitely open for discussion. But looking likely, it may not see anyone on the mediums. Maybe just like maybe one in the top 10, or even actually 10th, which maybe a little bit of very, very close margin. But we'll have to wait and see how qualifying plays out. We should see maybe a few electing for the mediums in Q2, or well, on the race, or maybe a few people stay on the soft just to make sure they get it into the top 10. But we'll have to wait and see, as Jan Haladej will be the first one to set a legitimate lap time here in qualifying.
Yeah, I think actually Patrick Sipos has managed to come out just ahead of him as well, so we'll see what the Hungarian driver can do. Got a couple of podiums so far this season for Race Clutch. I know they're gunning to maybe be top of the championship tonight, and with a race ban for Duncan Hofland, who knows, as he heads his way down towards turn number 1 there. Be very careful not to run wide. The barrier closes in on you on the exit of that corner. Turn number 2 as well. Extremely easy to lock up. Full commitment for Patrick Sipos. Looking very good indeed as he makes his way down the second of the 2 DRS zones. This one and the main straight down towards another 90-degree left-hander. You've got 3 of those to start off this lap, and now you get towards this very street circuit-like section. Left, right, through turn number 4 there, just working his way back through the gears. The chicane at turn number 5 and 6. Very interestingly, how you take this chicane, got to be very careful, nice and slow through the first part to not compromise your run out of the second part at turn number 6. Number 7 is a corner where the game really does allow you to attack that curve. You've got to be very brave through there. Sometimes we see the odd overtake through there as well. Coming through 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This castle section, very, very easy to get things wrong and very easy to invalidate on the exit. As Sipos just making a slight mistake there. So we will see what Haladej has done. He's keeping it nice and clean as he comes through 13 and 14 in towards turn number 15 there, where the two Toro Rossos, as they were known back then, of Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley, nearly had an almighty shunt in 2018. Into number 16, arguably the most important corner on the track, because you have got to get it absolutely perfect to get a superb one through these flat-out corners of 17, 18, 19 and 20, all the way towards the finish line, using any bit of battery that you have got left. DRS open there, and then this long one towards the line, and in the end, after all of that, Haladej decides to dive it into the pit lane. Are we going to get anyone actually setting a lap time this time? We've got, I think, one of the Aston Martins making his way towards the line, and it's Donoso who'd invalidated on that lap time. So, drivers not finding it the easiest at the moment in this session. It's just trying to see who's actually going to be the next one to head towards the finish line and maybe get our first actual proper representative lap of Q2. Jacques Levitis kept it nice and clean at the moment on the mediums. Will he decides it's worth going into the pits or will he stay out and complete the lap? No, he is going to finish his lap. And the Thai driver comes across the line, 1:38.361, the first time he's got. I think the fact that Haladej dived it into the pit lane, again, maybe just confirming what we expected. You're not going to get into the top 10 unless you're on softs.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be the case as Buelam Izar beats him to that one, and so does Caden lap 38.043 for the Finnish man, with Buelam Izar in P2 on a 38.159. Andrei Tarabukin has tried his luck on the mediums, only a couple of thousandths off track Lavity, so pretty good to see Andrei Tarabukin that close to Lavity there. So we may see a few drivers elected for the mediums. That's definitely going to liven things up amongst the grid, as Lenny Papinta 44.808. I think he probably backs out of that lap somewhere along the line. Dylan Warren will be the next to cross the line in the Parnell boys to the AlphaTauri. They'll be driving this season on soft compounded tyres. Across the line comes Dylan Warren, maybe going for one more, 39.041, and I think he's probably backed out of that one somewhere as Arturo Dewan comes in towards the pit lane. I think Patrick Simples decided to do one more, but he comes into the pit lane as well. Oscar Villacampa and Fabrizio Donoso will be Fabrizio Donoso first, ex-Alpine F1 Esports driver, of course, the runner-up in 2017, does decide to come in towards the pit lane this time around, not risking anything in the pit lane, takes it all within the white lines and comes in towards the pit lane. Now Andrew Krapi comes across the line, P6 for him, 39.257, once again thinking maybe backed out of that one somewhere, but a few people on the mediums. Andrei Tarabukin can definitely, with his pace showing right now, can definitely go on the mediums in Q2 if he wants to, but if it gets a little bit risky, then he may have to revise it and go onto the soft compound tyres. But Andrei Tarabukin seems to have the pace on the medium so far.
Yeah, I think that Lavity and Tarabukin will be very happy with what they've done at the moment on those mediums. Both of them in the 38.3s. It's a big gap back to Warren and Kavupi. Behind them, you've got Caden Lutt, though, fastest at the moment. Xbox Challengers driver, of course. Like we've seen a lot of the drivers do who took part in Challengers, trying to transition over towards the PC, ready for the Pro Exhibition. 138.0 for him. Buelam Izar, second on a 138.159 at the moment. They're the only representative times we've had on a set of the soft tyres, and now a few more drivers are starting to head out there. Haladej, of course, who attempted a run earlier on a set of the mediums and bailed out of it quite late. Didn't look like he'd invalidated or made any mistakes somewhere. Looked like he had just decided that he didn't want to finish that lap. With 8 minutes to go, we'll see what he can now do on a set of the medium tyres. Still only 7, setting a lap time. I think that'll change very shortly. Be interested to see what he can do. Be interested to see what Sipos and Pedreno can do as well. Race clutch looking very good. And of course, Villacampa and Donoso, both of them having crossed the line in first place so far this season, and both of them having the wins taken off them. They'll be looking for a very good performance here in qualifying and of course the race.
Yeah, definitely so. TF10 have probably been the most unluckiest team so far, with 2 wins with their name on track, but getting them removed after late penalties were applied. So they're going to have to try and get a good result today just to try and wipe those cobwebs away. And they were definitely at the pace. Fabrizio Donoso had the pace in Silverstone. Oscar Villacampa had the pace in Austria when he was last due, getting the win. Fabrizio Donoso got the win as well. So hopefully they can try and do a little bit better tonight. Obviously on the medium compound tyres, so they're trying to go through to Q3 on the medium compound tyres so they can. Jan Haladej hitting the wall there at the exit of 16, goes purple sector 2 nevertheless, and then fully flat out for sector 3, flying towards 18 and 19 and into the final corner of 20, which doesn't really count as a corner if you like, a little bit, like Austria at turn 2 if you like. It's not really counted as a corner in my eyes, maybe for a few officially. Here comes Jan Haladej and puts it into P3 on a 38.257, splits Izar and Lavity there, puts it into P3. That's not a bad lap time from Jan Haladej at all, and had a little bit of an unfortunate season so far as a Czech driver, but that P3 will definitely be encouraging for him.
Yeah, I think he'll be fairly happy with that one at the moment. You can just see the difference DRS makes there as Ruben Pedreno gets it open on that rear wing. He was topping out about 8 to 9 miles per hour slower than what he ended up doing, and a very good lap then from Pedreno. 37.737, first man we've seen into the 37s in this qualifying session. That is a very good lap. Do not be surprised if that ends up good enough to get the Spaniard into Q3 here. Of course, Race Clutch continuing their good form in the qualifying session. Who else have we got heading towards the lap at the moment? We've got Tarabukin, I think, just on one at the moment. We've seen Leonard Goetze go up into second place, 137.829. Track definitely improving. You always get plenty of track evolution on a street circuit. It's just sort of in the nature of street circuits. Could be one of those again. Last person across the line might have quite a big advantage here. I think the fact that we've seen now Laverty and Tarabukin going out on soft says to me they are not that confident. This man's had a bit more experience on dry tyres than everyone else in this session. Arturo de Juan Ruiz heading towards the finish line. What can the Spaniard do? 1:38.334 in the end. We'll definitely need to find a bit more time to be confident. I think if you're in the 1:37s, you should definitely be fine. Maybe Caden Lutt might be okay on a 1:38.0. Everyone else, we're definitely thinking about improving as Patrick Sipos now also shoots underneath that 1:38 barrier.
I think top four will probably be safe from their lap times. Caden may just be enough for well, to be safe in that lap, but may want to try and improve if he can. He has he has the time and the tyres to go for it if he wants to. Fabrizio Donoso is about to cross the line in the mediums. This is going to determine whether Caden will need to set another lap time. Fabrizio Donoso goes P6 on his medium run, 38.236, sorry, on his medium run. Oscar Villacampa will follow him through. Does he decide to come in towards pit lane? Yes, he does. So he's going to abandon his medium time, thinking that's probably best to go on the soft compound tyres. Fabrizio will definitely is going to have to try and improve if he can. So will Izar. I think the bottom five, fifth from below down to 15th. We'll definitely have to try again, but I think from Caden above probably will be safe. Pedreño top of the timing sheet so far on that 37.737 with Davy Tonlena Goetze in P2, Patrick Sipos in P3, Caden in P4, Buna Mizar in P5 as Andrei Tarabukin puts it on pole by 0.2 of a second to Ruben Pedreño there. Debut for VSR in TGC, and he's coming out flying. Andrei Tarabukin on pole position here in Azerbaijan.
That is not a bad lap whatsoever from Mr. Tarabukin in that McLaren. 1:37.598. I think if I was Donoso, I might be looking at that time and thinking, yeah, is it worth just going on a set of softs and better being safe than sorry at the moment. There's still two drivers yet to set a lap time, and then it wouldn't take too many improvements. Pepinza, we know, is extremely fast. We haven't seen what Karapi and Warren can do yet on a set of the soft tyres. Neither with Jack Laverty, so Donoso shouldn't be feeling too safe on that set of tyres. He's 1 second down at the moment, so I think he'll end up diving his way towards the pit lane. Eduardo Gil also heading into the pit. He's yet to set a lap time, so this is going to be very intriguing. 3 minutes to go in this session. A reminder of the drivers who got knocked out, in inverted commas, in Q1. 16th place, Yerne Dovzan for Shazoo, unable to make it into the session. And 17th, Marcus Towler, qualifying ban. 18th, Duncan Hoffland, qualifying ban. And 19th, Primoz Miklovic, qualifying ban. And a 3-second grid penalty. So, there the drivers will be starting 16th to 19th. We're going to find out in the next 3 to 4 minutes who is going to be starting 11th to 15 and which 10 drivers will be comprising our final fight for pole position. Boualam Izar heading out. He's probably the person at the moment that you feel, alongside Donoso and possibly Lott as well, need to just find a bit of time. And clearly trying to grab some of that time through turn number 3. Definitely clip the wall and again through number 4. Be very surprised if he's got away without at least some minor damage on that car. And you can see 0.8 of a second down. If he hasn't got damage, he's got away with one big style there. If he has, that could be qualifying over for the FER man.
Yeah, definitely a few scrapes there for Boualam Izar. Unfortunate to see, he was looking pretty decent so far. Currently P6 on the brink of maybe getting out of qualifying and going in. It's going to be very, very tough, but he's going to have to hope and pray that that lap's going to be enough. I don't think he'll have time to go for one more. Maybe if he is carrying damage, and that's definitely going to be it. 1:34 left in the session. Andrew Karapi just crossed the line earlier on. He's definitely going to be out of qualifying unless he is going to try and improve this lap. I don't think he is, unless he's going to try for one more at the end of this one. And Haladesh needs to try and improve also, as we've just mentioned, everyone out on track at the moment to try and go for their final few runs. It's getting a little bit tasty with 1 minute left to go in Q2, but the main drivers that are probably going to have to improve is probably now with everyone on track. I probably think everyone.
Yeah, definitely do think everyone. And you can see there as we change back to the live tyres, everyone has gone out on a set of soft tyres. Fabrizio Donoso, I think rightly, feeling like he's not safe. Jan Haladesh is invalidated on this run, was 26 thousandths up coming through sector 1, so would have been enough to get him ahead of Donoso, and I think he's just about going to have enough time to get going back more and get one more lap. And he's coming up to an almighty traffic jam in the final part of this lap. You can see all sorts of cars coming through the final corner, taking it very slowly indeed. 30 seconds around, so Haladej will be the last person, if he's got fuel, to be able to cross the line and set a time. Karapi's retired from in the pits then from this session. We won't be seeing any improvement from him. And the first drivers that will make their way towards the finish line is Izar, also retires in the pit lane. First drivers that are heading towards the finish line are going to be some of the Parnell Racing boys. And Jack Laverty, 3/10 of a second up at the moment. Will this be the lap good enough to get him into Q3?
To wait and see. He's about to come towards the section point. Does not decide to clip those curves. Checker flag is flying now. Jack Laverty in towards sector 2 split coming up now. 3/10 up on his personal best, which is looking like a 38.0 at the moment. Will not be quicker than Caden Lupp at the moment, but he will be putting into P6. He needs to find something in sector 3 if he wants to try and see himself into Q3. He's about to cross the DRS detection zone now. There it is, straight in front of you. Bang! Here we go then for Jack Laverty. Will he get pole position, or will he try and make his way through into Q3? Across the line for Jack Laverty. It's P5 by 1/1000th of a second to Caden Lupp, but he is improving. Dylan Warren just behind him is about to cross the line now. He's 5/10 up of his improvement. Surely save him through. Yes, he is P3. That's going to be enough for Dylan Warren to see him through into qualifying 3. Is that Lenny Papinta, who is about to cross the line? Yes, it is. Currently taking a double win last time out at Imola and at Silverstone. Can he make it the hat-trick tonight? Pedreño on pole position with a 37.576. Here comes Papinta, puts it into P5, 37.853. Should be enough to see him through. Only a few thousands in front of Patrick Sipples, who's about to cross the line now. Puts it into P3, which makes it a fully race clutch podium as it stands. With Leonard Goetze about to cross the line, should be safe as well. But the main drivers of Guado Gil, Jan Haladej and Fabrizio Donoso are yet to set times. We're about to come through the final couple of corners now as Goetze puts it into P3.
Goetze puts it up into P3. Caden Lutz coming across the line. Eduardo Gil can't improve. Donoso shoots himself up into 6th place at the expense of Arturo de Juan. And I think just at the end there, we saw Jan Haladej improve and end up pushing both of the FVR drivers out. So we'll just double check that. Both race clutch drivers have got their way through. Donoso leaving it quite late. And there we go. Haladej did shoot himself into 8th, just ahead of his teammate. Top 9 drivers separated by less than 3/10 of a second. But it is Ruben Pedreño, fastest in that first qualifying then from Caden Lutz in his first ever race here. PSR managing to get one of their cars into the top 10 in their first race. I think they'll be very happy with that. Indeed. Andrei Tarabukin in 3rd in that session. Lennard 4th. Sipos, Donoso, Warren, Haladej, Papinta, Laverty will be the top 10 drivers. And those failing to make it, Bualem, Izar, Arturo de Juan, Oscar Villacampa, Andrew Karapi, and Eduardo Gil. All of those drivers out of Q2. Then Q3 coming up very shortly. As we suspected, everyone's had to do it on a set of the soft tyres. Donoso tried it. It's a good job he decided to go out on those softs at the end, leaving it quite late.
Yeah, definitely so. And you were right with that prediction to go to Q3. It was the 38.042, which was going to be enough to see you through to Q3. If Caden Lupp did not improve, then he would have been out of qualifying on that 38.423. That would have been knocked him out by 1,000. So lucky enough, he did improve there, puts him up to P2 by 4,000ths of a second there. So PSL will definitely be happy with how their qualifying went, and hopefully can maybe try and pull in towards the pole position spot. Caden Lupp, unfortunate that Andrew Karapi could not get in towards the top 10, but hopefully can try and go on towards the alternate strategy on the medium compound tires to make sure he gets up there towards the field. And the strategy is definitely going to be very, very important for Karapi here. But about to head in towards Q3, and it should be a very, very tight shootout for pole. Everyone on the soft compound tires in the top 10. So all to gain for here, and we're about to get ready to go.
Yeah, we're about to get ready to go then for this session. Unsurprisingly, everyone is going to go out on a set of the soft tyres, and things looking very fast indeed at the moment. All the drivers just leaving the session, of course, making sure they're maybe getting any last-minute practice in. Tarabukin looked quick. Caden looked quick. Both of them race clutch drivers are doing a fantastic job. Pedreño fastest. Patrick Sipos in 5th place. What are we thinking about pole position then? 1:37.576 was the fastest time. Could we see anyone maybe sneak into the 1:37.3s?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think probably you may see mid to high, maybe low 37.3s. We'll probably see you on pole position, but we'll have to wait and see in this qualifying session. Obviously, anything is to play for, and I'll tell you what, Andrea Tarabukin definitely looking like the dark horse here tonight. I reckon he could probably slot him up the field a lot, definitely in towards the top 5, absolutely, and he's been absolutely fantastic so far in these past 2 qualifying sessions for his debut in VSR. Obviously, was driving for Shizou in the first round, moved to VSR in a few weeks ago actually, so making his debut for your team VSR. So it's definitely good to see him up there in the top 10, and hopefully he can try and go for a little bit better in this lap. He'll be the first one to cross the line as Dylan Warren and Jack Laverty close up behind him in the AlphaTauris. Hopefully we won't see a similar response in 2018 where, as you said, Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley having a little bit of heart and mouth moment. But Andrew Tarabukin about to cross the final corner to start his first flying lap in Q3.
Yeah, he's with that very Sebastian Vettel-esque helmet. Vettel's been involved in quite a few dramatic moments here in 2017 and 2017 and 2018. And of course, got Aston Martin's first ever podium in F1 and so far only podium at the race last year. Tarabukin really attacking turn number 1 there, taking as much curb on that exit as you dare to do. Looking good, not really going for it too much on the inside. We saw, I think it was Patrick Sipos in Q2 taking a lot more curb on the inside of turn number 2. It's always a bit of a driver choice whether you want to risk unsettling the car. It's always one thing everyone has to think about, but full commitment there, getting extremely close to the walls. This is what you need to do on a street circuit. Jolyon Palmer, of course, famous for saying that you've got to be alert on a street circuit. You have got to be super brave as well and fully committed. Now is the time, if there is ever one, to leave everything out there on the track. Do not want to come in with any slight regrets here. And if you damage your car in this qualifying session, especially on the final laps, I don't think you'll be massively bothered as long as you've got a good banker in. Tarabukin, how on earth has he not lost the car and lost a wheel through that castle section? My goodness me, that was close.
That is brilliant car control there from Tarabukin. Extremely on the limit is the VSR driver there. Brilliant to see. He does decide to clip that curb on the left-hand side. Fairly 2 laps you can take that. It's fairly quicker previously, maybe a little bit slower nowadays. So as he comes towards sector 3, there's a lot of time in that sector 2 time through the castle section. That's easy, maybe a 1/10 or 2/10 improvement for Tarabukin as he makes his way down the final corner. Where will this lap time put him? Where will the banker be in Q3 for everyone to beat DRS wide open as you make your way closest to the wall? But he has decided decided to abandon that one, not thinking it's good enough. So it will be either Dylan Warren or Jack Laverty. Will be Dylan Warren to cross the line first in par now as he crosses the line now, staying tight towards the law if you can. Cross the line for Dylan Warren, 37.9 for him. Jack Laverty about to cross the line, 37.9 for Dylan Warren. That's quite interesting. Jack Laverty, 37.5. That's a little bit more like it there. Caden Lutt about to cross the line. He's coming up towards the DRS detection zone now, staying tight towards the line on the right hand side, keeping it towards the right side, maybe looking to try and go for one more. He is on an outlap, I've just realised. Danny Papinta next though for Williams, doing an absolutely fantastic job in these next parts of the season, puts it into P2 with 37.7. Jack Laverty is having a great qualifying session so far. Skurtzer puts it into P2, 37.665, a great qualifying there for WORs. There comes I believe that's Patrick Sipos about to cross the line. No, it's not. It was Ruben Pedreño on an outlap. Patrick Sipos invalidates his first run. I say it comes from Brexit Donoso on an outlap, but Jack Laverty having the pace already in these early parts of Q3.
Yeah, just wonder whether Dylan Warren's gone out on a used set of soft tyres there. Didn't really seem to be anything wrong with his lap for quite a bit of time off his teammate. Would not expect that in that session. Jan Hollandaise, the Czech driver who got into this session right at the death, goes into 5th place. Slowest of everyone that has set a time at the moment on 1:37.956. Jack Laverty with a really good time. We'd expect it maybe to get beaten, but if it does, it is not going to be beaten by much. I can guarantee that one for you as well. Donoso's left the session. That's such a shame. Hopefully he's able to get himself back in and get himself obviously setting a good qualifying time. Would not want him to be starting in 10th place. Here comes Caden Lutt around the final couple of corners. As we said, the final real corner of turn number 16. You aren't allowed any slipstreaming in qualifying, so that's bad news for Parnell, bad news for Dictos, and bad news for Race Clutch, who've managed to get both of their drivers into the final part of qualifying here at the Baku City Circuit. What can Caden Lutt do? Heading towards the finish line then. 193 mile per hour topping out before you open the DRS. Getting an extra 7 or 8 miles per hour, about 12 kilometres an hour extra then for the Haas as he comes across the line. And it is third place on his first run for Caden Lutz. 1.5 attempts off of pole position at the moment. Most of the drivers have done their first run. Sipos, he's invalidated. I wonder if he did go flat out, suggesting by that time possibly not. Ruben Pedreno, fastest in Q2. Can he become fastest in Q3 then? He heads towards the line. Slots into 5th for now. So Laverty, Goetze, Lut, your top 3, after most of the drivers have at least attempted their first lap time.
Yeah, definitely so. And I'll tell you what, Laverty, Goetze and Lut looking absolutely fantastic to see. And obviously Leonard Goetze putting on a real show on his debut in P2, 37.665. You can definitely get it lower than that, you could probably assume. But a great debut for Goetze and Lut, P2 and P3 respectively. And obviously, hopefully, Fabrizio Donoso can try and join us for the rest of the session. Hopefully he can try and get back in towards the lobby. I've tried to invite him, but not really letting me at the moment. But Patrick Sipos validating his first run, making his way through the castle section. I'm not sure if he's taking it with any aggression, just maybe trying to go for an in-lap go on a fresher set of soft compound tyres. But right now, race fifth, seems to be a similar occurrence with Race Clutch. They can definitely do the business in Q1 and Q2, but when it comes to Q3, they don't really do very well. You usually see them near bottom 5, P4, P3 at best, to be honest. So you haven't really seen them look out the front row, but you've seen them in the bottom 5. Hopefully they can try and resurrect that today. Ruben Pedreno currently sitting in P5, just a couple of hundredths in front of Dylan Warren at the moment. Here comes Patrick Sipos about to cross the line for Race Clutch. Not sure if he's going to try and come in, and he's going to come in on this lap. So far as Andrew Charbrukin again will be trying to go for his final couple of runs. Purple in sector 2, much better sector 2. He's about to come through sector 3. What is his second lap or improvement lap going to be from his previous invalidation?
Yeah, of course, made that mistake in the castle section on his first run, and I think he'll be very relieved to have got away with that one. Charbrukin then DRS about to open on that McLaren. Can he get himself further up the order? No, not happy with that either. So that's twice now. It's not been an invalidated lap, it's been an aborted lap from Andrei Charbrukin. With 3.5 minutes to go, he's only going to get one more chance if he wants to get the sole VSR that did take part in this qualifying session after Hoffland's qualifying ban up towards the top of the order. We are now starting to see, though, a few of the cars come out for their second runs. And it is Leonard Goetze for WOR. They've not had the greatest start to the season at the moment. I think it's fair to say WOR. They are 9th in the championship as things stand, scoring 7 points. Jona Martins with a 10th in Austria and an 8th and 9th from Ryan Jacobs at Imola and Silverstone. It's going to be tough for Mick Klavchich. We know he's got brilliant pace. I've seen him across many PC leagues. I've seen him, of course, in challenges as well. We know he's a quick driver. And we also, as we're seeing tonight, Leonard Goetze, very quick as well. So could be an opportunity for WR maybe to just shoot themselves further up the championship standings.
Yeah, definitely so. Currently P9, P8 in the standings with only about 8 points their name, so they can definitely have a bucket load of points after this one with Goetze in P2 and maybe even P1 at the end of this as he's about to come towards the back straight to start his final lap in qualifying. 2 minutes 30 left to go. You can do 2 back-to-back laps if you want. I probably highly adversely doubt it as from the tyre degradation, but Goetze will be the first one to come out for his final lap. A little bit of traffic through this back straight. Hopefully everyone gets out of the way. That is Ruben Pedreno on the left-hand side, followed by Caden Lutz in the Haas, and another Race Clutch driver of Patrick Sipos with Jan Halliday as well. Thankfully, all guarded, all okay with Andrei Charbrukin just in front. So managed all okay for Leonard Goetze through sector 1. How's the sector 2 going to be a little bit wide through that right hand as he enters sector 1 split. 61,000 up so far. There's a little bit of tap on the wall on the left. It's been a little bit messy, but it's been all right just to improve so far.
Yes, he'll be happy with his improvement. The fact that he's still pushing as well with his ERS use and suggests that he's not going to back off. And as I say that, he instantly cuts off his ERS and instantly decides to back off. Obviously trying to save a few tyres, see what he can do throughout the rest of this lap. Dylan Moran then, is he still pushing at the moment? No ERS used whatsoever. So going for that second warm-up lap, it's a very common thing to see on this game, and it's going to be extremely late before we get to find out who's going to be taking pole position. One man we can guarantee it won't be, unfortunately, is Fabrizio Donoso. He's been unable to join the session. He's still stuck in the pit lane, unless there's any invalidations from Charbrukin and Sipos. It's very likely that Donoso will be starting down in 10th place. Jack Laverty then, just starting his hot lap, looking a bit wild through turn number 1. The Thai driver, the very young man indeed, on provisional pole position at the moment, looking for some good success in the PC platform. What can he do on his final run?
Definitely so. Here comes Landon Gertzer about to cross the line to go for one more. We're kidding. Lutz in P3. Dylan Warren as well going for one more. 1 minute left in the session. Who will make it is the question. I think everyone should make it with 35 seconds left to go, as Jack Laverty has gone purple in sector 1. A little bit of a mix-up out of the exit, but seems to be okay. Currently purple on his previous run, but only by 78,000. How is sector 2 going to be a little bit of a tap on the wall there as he went in towards the castle section? Fully committed, so close to the wall. Left, right, in towards another left. A little bit wider, massive moment on the exit. Seems to be okay so far as you enter a fully flat hand of the left. Another little kink on the left as well. And heading in towards the sector 2, splitting in towards sector 3. Fully committed through the left-hander. How much is he up in sector 2, if any? 94,000 subs, so just under a cent so far. Donoso will not get a lap on the board. He will start no higher than P10. Here comes Jack Laverty. What's the time going to be to everyone to beat as he comes through the back straight? He's the 10th up in sector 2. What's his sector 3 going to be like if he can improve, if any? DRS wide open for the Thai driver. He makes his way through the final corner. Jack Laverty for par now across the line, and it's a 37.473. A 10th and a bit improvement for him. Leonard Gertzer, how's he doing? 2 tenths up, but he has invalidated. That would have been enough for pole. Is Leonard Gertzer. Caden Lutt is 35,000 up. It's going to be very tight from here. Leonard Gertzer will not get pole position. Will start no higher than P2. But what can Caden Lutt do in these final couple of sectors? He needs something in sector 3.
Yeah, needs a fairly big improvement to get himself on pole position. Doesn't need a lot, though, to get him provisionally on the front row. We've got all the cars coming in behind him. Gertzer, obviously, with that invalidation. Caden Lutt, in the end, does not improve by enough. Stays in 3rd place. Patrick Sipos shoots himself up now into 2nd. What can Dylan Warren do as he comes towards the line? He goes fastest. Parnell 1-2. As things stand at the moment, who else have we got coming towards the end of their lap? Tarabuki, we're yet to see what he can do in the VSR car for McLaren. Gets himself up into 6th place. Papinta, he's not improving too much. He heads towards the line, and it has not been pole position for him. It is a 1-2 then for Parnell Racing. Dylan Warren beating Jack Laverty. The Alpha Tauri is looking very good here in Baku. And obviously, not a 1-2, because Pedreno shot himself up into 2nd place, but it is Dylan Warren on pole position. Pedreno in 2nd. And Jack Laverty might not be starting in 2nd, as I did say, so apologies for that. Don't think he'll have too many complaints with 3rd.
Jack Laverty P3 and Dylan Warren taking his first pole position of the season. A brilliant end to qualifying there. Pedreno does split the Parnell drivers there, and it's Parnell race clutch with 2 and 4 there. Patrick Sipos in P4, and I think race clutch would definitely be proud of that qualifying session. So will Parnell with that 1-3. Brilliant to see with Leonard Gertzer in P5, with PSR P6 with Caden Lutt. Brilliant to see him on his debut that far up. But Parnell once again showing why they're one of the top dogs in this tournament, and definitely showing why they've been the top dogs in qualifying, and keeping their good qualifying session up with a very decent result with 1 and 3. Yeah,
I think that's another pole position for Parnell, following on from that one that we saw at the start of the season. We'll debrief qualifying very shortly, but before then, we're going to have a quick break, and we're going to enjoy our latest message from GT Omega. So see you in a moment. Yes, a fantastic qualifying session there. Dylan Warren leaving it late. 2nd run on that set of tyres then to take pole position. 2nd place, it is going to be Ruben Pedreno. Jack Laverty in 3rd and Patrick Sipos in 4th. Brilliant qualifying session for Parnell and Race Clutch.
Yeah, definitely. So we definitely be proud with that one, topping the top 4 in the front row and the 2nd row. So they'll definitely be proud of that one. And Dylan Warren taking his first pole position there, absolutely deserved of that pole has definitely been coming. Just unfortunate that it didn't come a little bit earlier, but he's finally got it here at Azerbaijan. And he can definitely get going for the race. Looking pretty decent, but can he hold off the likes of Ruben Pedreño, his teammate of Jack Laverty and Patrick Sipos, who's starting behind him, second, third and fourth. That is going to be a mega task for Dylan Warren.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be quite difficult indeed. We've said it's not really turn 1 you need to worry about here. We've said it's a short one. Turn number 3 as well. If you make any mistakes coming out of 2, you can find yourself getting slipstream down there, and maybe just having his teammate starting directly behind him. Who knows? Maybe if Laverty can get a good start, they'll get that good opportunity on the run down towards turn number 3, and they might even see themselves running 1-2. Leonard, he was looking very quick, invalidated his run, maybe slightly disappointed with 5th place. I don't think anyone will be more disappointed than Fabrizio Donoso, though. Didn't get a chance to see what he can do, and 10th, arguably one of the worst places on the grid to be starting. He'll, obviously we get fresh tyres, but he'll have to start on a set of the softs.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. That probably is the worst scenario for Fabrizio Donoso. We'll have to wait and see what he can do in the race. It's going to be a mammoth task for him to get himself up the field, but with the pace we've known from him for quite a while, it's definitely possible for him to get up the field, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. And obviously starting on the soft compound tyres is going to be very, very tough, but we'll have to wait and see what we can do in the race. Yeah,
indeed. I'm sure he'll be determined to try and get himself up. Maybe the first couple of laps could be where it is all important for him. ADRT, obviously Jan Holiday, I think he'll just be, no disrespect, I think he'll be delighted to get himself into the top 10. But Lenny Babinter just not really looked as quick as he has done in the last couple of races. I mean, 3/10 of a second off pole position is a disaster, but starting in 8th place, it's going to be very challenging to make it 3 wins on the bounce from there.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult, obviously, with the position he's been in. We usually see him in the top 2, in the top 3, fighting for that pole and those front row positions. But hopefully he can try and bring this back for the race. Hopefully he can try and bounce back from that. So I'll have to wait and see what he can do, but it's definitely going to be a big task. Once again, people starting maybe 6th or below, it's going to be a very, very tough order to get themselves up the field. But top 5, top 4, top 3, it's definitely going to be quite possible for them to boast up the order. But it's definitely going to be interesting how this plays out, and I think the strategy will definitely decide this race from here.
Yeah, and talking of strategy, we haven't talked about those who'll be able to start themselves on the alternate strategy. Boualam, Izar, and Arturo Duran starting 11th and 12th. So FVR, definitely if they can, teamwork makes for dream work, as they say. And if they can make that team work, who knows, might be able to get themselves there. First points for a while via Camper in 13th, Crappy in 14th, Eduardo Heel in 15th. Looks like it is going to be a tough session for ET8, obviously, with Marcus Towler having that grid penalty. He'll be starting in 17th place. I'm just trying to see if we have got Yerne Dovzan in, because that might promote him up 1 place, and it doesn't look like Yerne is in at the moment, so we'll just wait and see. It will be if Yerne does join, it'll be 16th for him, 17th for Marcus Towler, 18th for Duncan Hoffland, and 19th for Primoz Miklavčić. Just looking at other drivers that we saw on the grid. I mean, PSR, obviously, I think Carapi would have wanted to do slightly better. They are still a fairly new team to the PC, but Caden Luck kind of showing the pace that we knew what he's got, especially in that Q2 session. 1:37.5 in Q2. If he'd have done that time in Q3, he'd have been starting in the top 5. In the end, 7th for the Finn.
Yeah, definitely so. Caden doing well there, getting the job done. But yeah, if that's Q2, that would have been a little bit more, then it would have been pretty decent. Yerne Dovzan does join us for the race, thankfully, so we will have 19 on the field all ready to go. But it's going to be a very, very interesting race, and definitely one we should be looking forward to in a couple of moments' time. But yeah, definitely interesting for PSR. They'll be definitely proud of Caden getting into that top 10, in towards the top 6 as well. Obviously, Andrew Carapi doing well, getting into P12, so you're kind of your back marker's pole position. He will have the free choice tyre set, so we will be trying for the mediums, if you probably should see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how it plays out, and as I've said, these past few minutes, it's definitely going to be how the strategy plays out for a lot of these drivers, and I think the strategy may favour the likes of the bottom 11 a little bit more.
Yeah, they are just, all 19 drivers are in, so of course they are now just setting up that custom grid. A reminder of what some of the top drivers will be: Dylan Warren, Ruben Pedreño, Jack Laverty, your top 3, Sipos, Gertzer, Tarabukin, Lurt, Pepinta, Haladej, Donoso. Rounding out the top 10, Izar, De Juan, Villacampa, Carapi, Hill, your top 15. Then we're going to have Dovzan, Marcus Towler, Duncan Hoffland, and Miklevčić, the last of the 19 cars in what we can tell you are going to be overcast conditions. So might just keep the tyres a tiny bit cooler. Doesn't tend to make massive difference on the F1 game, but I think everyone will just be relieved that we're not going to have any wet weather around here, because we saw how tricky it was in qualifying, drivers tapping the wall even when it was perfect conditions. I think if it was going to be raining, we've seen quite a few lost front wings and maybe quite a lot of safety cars.
Yeah, definitely so. If it was maybe a little bit wetter, a little bit darker, then maybe all hell breaks loose. But I think it's pretty decent for the drivers that it's not fully sunny conditions. Get the tyres a little bit less hot, which definitely going to be a big boost for them. But yeah, the medium runners will definitely be looking pretty decent in this type of weather. Soft compound tyre runners definitely can last a few laps, maybe looking to try and go for lap 10, lap 9, lap 8 at the earliest. Maybe even in at lap 5 to try on the hards. I doubt we'll see anyone do that, but it definitely is a possibility for a few. But it's definitely going to be interesting how this plays out for the next couple of laps.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some cross-team support in the chat as well, which is nice to see from FedEx, saying that Yoni is, great talent. So Shazoo getting some support here from ADRT, which I'm sure they're very appreciative of. I doubt the ADRT drivers tonight will be quite as supportive of Yoni as we're seeing in the chat, but that is always nice to see. TF10. Going to be tough for them to get any good results, but we know Fabrizio Donoso, you don't win races in esports, you don't be an esports runner-up without being a supremely fantastic driver. If anyone can pull something out from 10th place, he's probably the man.
Yeah, definitely so. We've seen how decent he is in the esports scene for so many years. Been there since the start of the season, since 2017. Obviously lost out to Brendan Lee, but he's definitely been fighting very, very hard ever since, and definitely can get a few good positions from the start. We just know the pace that he has, so there's no doubt in my mind he can finish top 5, top 6, maybe if on a good day, maybe even the top 3 if he needs an absolutely fantastic race. So it's definitely going to be very, very interesting. Alongside Oscar Villacampa as well, starting in the Q2 in the bottom 15, so in the top 15, sorry, in the bottom 10 to 15. So he can definitely do a good job on the alternate strategy. So hopefully he can try and get a good job going as well. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But TF10 maybe the biggest losers in qualifying, but knowing the pace that their drivers have, they can definitely, no doubt in my mind, can get there up in towards those top 5 places, maybe even a podium.
Yeah, I think we saw in round number 1 of the season in Austria, Villacampa definitely had a better race than he did qualifying session. He'll be hoping for the same again here. ETA, another one of those Spanish-based teams that have not had the best of qualifying. They'll be hoping to do a good job. I think we are just not too far away from the drivers getting ready for the grid. Then we'll be able to get ourselves underway with the 26 laps around here. Soft medium, I think, is the strategy that the most in the top 10 will be trying to go for. Do you think we'll see anyone, if they get stuck in a DRS train, think about a set of the hard tyres?
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe lap 5 is probably going to be the latest. We'll see a few people in for the undercut for the hard compound tyres. That's probably where we'll probably see it from there. But we'll have to wait and see. I think that's probably going to be the max for the hard compound tyres in league racing. Usually it's just a little bit too slow. I think you're only going to probably see it is Singapore, where the soft compound tyres are a big no-no. They last about 3 to 5 laps. So I think that's the only place we'll see them. But I doubt we'll see them. Maybe if a few people get damaged early on, then we may see the hards being used. But I think the main strategy will be soft, medium, soft for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think Lewis Walsh has just summed it up perfectly. Hard to trash on this game. I'm hoping to become a bit more useful on F1 2022. It would definitely be nice to see if the drivers, have that different choices of the strategies to go for a bit more. I know this year in F1 we have seen drivers go for different types of tyre and different steps between the tyre. Sometimes 2 steps between soft and medium, or medium hard. It always does add that extra bit of an element. I'm sure we'll find out more about that in the future. If we have to put our necks on the line and go for a prediction for the victory, Josh, who would you expect to be taking the win in 26 laps time?
It's going to be a tough one. I think I'm probably going to put my money on one of the Race Clutch or the Parnell drivers tonight. I think I'm probably going to go with Jack Laverty. I think he'll have a good start. Maybe get up there with Ruben and Dylan and see what he can do from there. But I think I'm going to give it to Jack Laverty with the win tonight.
I think I'm going to go for Ruben Pedreno starting in second place. Look, he's looked good across all the qualifying sessions. To be honest, both Race Clutch and Parnell Racing drivers have. I'll be very surprised if the winner comes from someone outside of that. Of course, I think if the winner does come from someone outside of that, it means we've had an absolutely brilliant race. It means we'll be entertained for the next 35-40 minutes, and it means everyone watching as well will have also been entertained around the Baku City Circuit. First used in Formula 1 in 2016, 6.003 kilometres, 3.730 miles, 11 turns to the left, 9 to the right, and 2 DRS zones, which should allow us to see quite a bit of overtaking action around this track, as we're going to take a look now at the tyres that everyone has gone for in this session. And no real surprises that everyone in the top 10 is on the softs and everyone outside the top 10 is on the mediums.
No surprise there at all. So everyone in the bottom 11 trying for the alternate strategy. Everyone on the top 10 on the softs, as we should see everyone all on fresh tyres as well. So there's no issue with degradation earlier on with the reset on the reset of the lobby, as is custom in this league. So everyone on the fresher tyres to start off with. Bulem is all the way down to Primus on the mediums. That's definitely going to be an interesting battle. Watch out definitely for Villacampa and Karapi starting 13th and 14th, just to see what they can do on their alternate strategy. But yeah, definitely top 5 looking very, very menacing on the sort of compound tyres, but we'll have to wait and see in 26 laps time who's going to come out as the victor here in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, we will do. I'm not sure whether that's a prediction in the chat from Mr. Welsh that Duncan Hoffland is going to win. We have seen Formula 1 victories down from 18th place before, and in fact a tiny bit lower. The last time anyone won from 18th on the grid, Rubens Barrichello at the 2000 German Grand Prix, his first ever victory in Formula 1. More famous for the McLaren employee, the Mercedes employee, walking along the main pit straight as cars come past doing 200 miles per hour, and for Rubens crying over the radio. I think there'll be tears of joy at VSR if Duncan can get himself towards the front of the grid. But it is Dylan Warren on pole position at the moment, leading the cars round. Pedreno in second, Lavity in third, and Sipos in fourth. Race Clutch and Parnell at the moment, both up there in that battle for second in the championship, and both with a brilliant opportunity to close up on VSR. It's going to be a fascinating race.
VSR 6th and 18th. This is a big opportunity for Parnell and for Race Clutch to get themselves up towards the top 2, top 1 if they can tonight. Definitely possible for Parnell. They have the greatest opportunity to do so with Dylan Warren P1 and Jack Laverty P3. We'll have to wait in 26 laps time. That's going to fare out, but we'll have to wait and see. They're lining up on the grid now for 26 laps of Azerbaijan, and it should be a very, very tasty affair.
Yes, it should be indeed. You can see Dylan Warren with the line that they all want to do. Of course, in the next game, you'll be able to point your car over and angle it at the car alongside you. That could lead to plenty of interest. You're also going to be allowed to pit on the formation lap, as all the cars are now in position, and we wait for the lights to come on as we get ready for round number 4 of the Global Championship, powered by GT Omega, to get underway. Here come the lights then. We've got 4, we've got 5 lights. They go out, not a long hold whatsoever, and we are underway in Baku. Dylan Warren straight away trying to cover off Ruben Pedreno, who's unable to get alongside. Jack Laverty and Patrick Sipos going side by side. Laverty recovering that move round the outside of turn number 1, but it is as you were for the front 4. There's battles further back as well, as Pepinto go side by side with Leonard Goetzer. Lenny versus Leonard, and they're going to be trying to drag race their way down towards turn number 3 here. Andrei Tarabukin is alongside with Caden Lott as things stand. Can the McLaren driver get himself forward enough ahead? And Caden Lott, you can see, is fighting for all he's worth, just losing out on that one. Tarabukin gets himself up into 5th place. Halliday almost battling with Pepinto as well, trying to make some moves. Look like everyone has made it through the first sector quite cleanly, and it is Dylan Warren leading from Ruben Pedreno. Jack Laverty in 3rd place and did very well to hold off from Patrick Sipos. And Tarabukin showing his hand early, moving up into 5th. Great to see that everyone's made it through cleanly. Great to see that there's not been too many position changes. DRS trains could play an important part there in the first few laps.
Start there from Andrei Tarabukin as well. Great to see him shoot up there. 1 position gains on Caden Lott, as Leonard Goetzer has lost a few positions as well. Fabrizio Donoso keeps it into P10 as Jack Laverty and Patrick Sipos bustling away in towards turn 1. Side by side, kept it very, very clean, which is what you love to see, with Dylan Warren leading away with Ruben Pedreno in P2 it is, as it was through in towards the group stages as they come towards the back straight now. Can Jack Lavity try to close up on Ruben Pedreño at all if he can? Ruben Pedreño is closing up to Dylan Warren in towards the sixth stream. They may see something happen in towards turn 1 if he wants to use his DRS. Not using any at the moment as Caden Lutt wants to fancy his chances. Andre Tarabukin as well. Dylan Warren fast up the Grand Prix. Tarabukin having a look on Sipos as well. He seems to be struggling. There goes down the inside of Tarabukin on Sipos. Sipos around the outside. Does keep it together this time around. Sipos down the inside. There, here goes Caden Lutt down the inside. To me, to you. Caden Lutt down the inside. They go side by side in towards turn 2. It's very, very tight. Tarabukin shoving in the door, getting very, very wide. Who's going to be braver in towards turn 3? It's Lutt momentarily. Tarabukin trying to hold it around the outside. There's a little bit of contact made once again. They're still side by side as they head into 5. It's Tarabukin who wins this one. It's Tarabukin down the inside of Sipos. Lutt down the inside of Tarabukin. And Tarabukin stays P5 with Patrick Sipos staying P4. And it's getting a little bit tighter for this battle for P4.
Yeah, let's not remember that all started with Tarabukin trying to send that move then on Patrick Sipos, but unable to make it work, and that led Caden Lutt almost able to get alongside. Those on the medium tyres have been able to hold on at the moment, which is great news for them, especially for Izar and Juan Ruiz, both the FVR drivers. Let's see what they can do as things go on. Tarabukin just using a bit of ERS to try and not only pull away from Caden Lutt, but also close back up to those front 4. It did just allow Sipos to open that gap up to about 8 or 9 tenths of a second at one bit, but everything has closed back to normal now. Pepinta has looked very close to the back of Goetze over the last few laps, and also there, Fabrizio Donoso trying to make some moves as well. He knows how frustrating it is to be stuck in these DRS trains, not being able to get any moves. DRS activated this time around. I'm sure you're all aware you can use it if you're within a second of the car in front at the section point. You can use it down this pit straight, starting from the next lap, and also starting from the next lap. You'll be able to use it on the run down towards turn number 3 as well. Pedreño nowhere near as close to the back of Warren this time around. Jack Lavity also trying to close in on the back of the Alpine. So it is still AlphaTauri, Alpine, AlphaTauri, Alpine as we head on to lap number 3. And this is when the battling is really going to begin.
Definitely so. DRS now started. Dylan Warren is in a little bit of a bad situation here with the DRS now being activated on lap 3. Ruben Pedreño and Jack Lavity are really going to catch up to this battle now as they come towards turn number 5. It's Dylan Warren momentarily in front with Ruben Pedreño into P2, 3 tenths back at the moment. Closing into 4 is Ruben Pedreño to the back of Warren with Sipos, Tarabukin and Lutz close behind with Leonard Goetze. P7 is a big battle all the way. They're carrying all the way through. First down to last, separated all within a second of each other, which is great to see with Duncan Hoffman just lagging behind ever so slightly on Jerne Dovson. But Dylan Warren doing very, very well to keep Pedreño at bay. But use a little bit of ERS just to make sure he has that tiny bit of a gap as they come down the back straight. It's going to be interesting how this is going to play out in the latter stages, where will be enough to try and mount an overtake going towards the final couple of corners. Here comes Dylan Warren round in the final corner with Ruben Pedreño. Who will get the better exit so far? It is Warren momentarily, and it is going to be Warren down this back straight, gaining about a tenth and a bit, just over half a tenth on Ruben Pedreño as they make their way down this back straight with Jack Lavity closing in, DRS in use, and there comes Jack Lavity. This may be a 3-wide affair coming down this back straight. Pedreño with the DRS and also Lavity. Lavity's going to try something on Pedreño maybe as they come down the back straight. Here comes Pedreño having a look on Warren. Warren tries to defend. Round the outside goes Lavity. 3-wide affair is very, very tight. Warren is spun round and it's Lavity who takes the lead with Pedreño at B2. Maybe a little bit of a touch as the pole position man of Dylan Warren is then spinning around. Eduardo Gil is in trouble as well with Lavity leading. I cannot believe that 3-wide affair always going to happen, and the DRS train down this back straight always going to happen. Lavity takes the lead, Pedreño P2, Sipos P3, Tarabukin P4 with Lutton P5, and that is incredible. Dylan Warren sent round into turn 1.
It was almost, as neat as Jonna Martin has mentioned, it was almost a brilliant piece of teamwork there. Dylan Warren defended from Ruben Pedreño and allowing Jack Lavity to just go around the outside of the pair of them. Whether there was any contact, we'll have to wait and see. Probably, in a normal situation, once everything had spread out, wouldn't have cost Dylan Warren too much. It's cost him 15 places, and he's now in this train on a set of the soft tyres, and I'm not sure where we just clipped the inside of the wall out of the castle section there. He does seem to be struggling a bit. Obviously those soft tyres will have overheated, and I'll have to try and carry on and hope that he can get something out of this race. Might be relying on a safety car to get a good result. And as you also said, something's happened to Eduardo Gil. He's now dropped a long way back, 3.3 seconds off the nearest car. Looks like being a tough race for the ET8 man. And if there was any team games going on, Jack Laverty's got to try and do it all by himself at the moment. Ruben Pedreño's got a bit of exit. He's got plenty of ERS. Soon he's going to have the DRS. And I think not long after that, he's going to have the lead of this race. And can Patrick Sipos also follow his way through as well? You can see Tarabukin trying to break the toe there in the background. Pedreño, in the end, quite happy to just stay behind the AlphaTauri on the run down towards turn 1. So it's still Laverty, Pedreño, Sipos, your top 3 drivers. Dylan Warren, I think, must have got some damage. He's on his way into the pits. Now will Pedreño decide it's worth a move into turn number 3. You've got to be a lot closer at the start of the straight. I'm not sure he is close enough on this occasion to think about a late dive bomb. No, quite wisely decides to just stay in the train. And that was really the only move in that part of the race that we've seen so far happened at the start of lap number 4 with Laverty, Warren and Pedreño. Whether there was contact, we think there might have been a tiny tap on the back of Dylan Warren. We'll be interested to see what the stewards think of that. I hope they weren't planning for a quiet night. They've been very busy so far this season. Chances are around Baku, they're gonna be in for a long haul. Hope they've got plenty of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. So always going to be busy in the steward's office in league racing as the battle between the 2 race clutches and Dylan Warren was very, very audacious from Laverty to go around the outside. The gap was there, and obviously with I think it was Pedreño and Warren who were battling away. It was very, very tight, but collision was always going to happen. And Dylan Warren lighting up the rears, maybe contact. Couldn't really see from my perspective. I just saw Warren just spinning around in the left of my screen. So it's going to go all the way if POVs are involved, and we'll have to see what happens in the left of this. But Jack Laverty doing well so far to keep the Race Clutch drivers at bay. But I think Race Clutch just thinking to just try and stay behind, as Laverty is actually going to pit out of lap 5. This may be for the hards, maybe for the mediums. The mediums could probably go that long, 20 laps exactly for Jack Laverty. He pulls the trigger early at the end of lap 6. For what tyres is the question. Here comes Laverty in towards the pits, and it is the medium tyres for Jack Laverty. So parring out now 18th and 19th, was first and third, now 18th and 19th. But Jack Laverty with the undercut, things may get a little bit interesting as here comes Tarabukin trying it around the outside. He loves it around the outside of Azerbaijan, couldn't quite hold it off this time around, and Sipos muscles his way back in towards P2.
Can only imagine that Sipos must have made a slight mistake there to allow Tarabukin to get close enough to even attempt that overtake. It looks like they were battling side by side through turn 1 as well, and Sipos has now lost DRS I should say, on the back of his teammate. So whether Pedreño's just going to back it off a bit and give Sipos that DRS, otherwise it might be worth them reacting this lap to Laverty, who has of course pitted. He's going to, you'd expect with the undercut to work, and you'd expect it to work, seeing as Duncan Hoffland take the fastest lap of the race that time around, on the way to passing Jerne Dovzan as well. 15th and 16th now for Hoffland and Dovzan respectively. I think we're going to see a few more pit stops at the moment, and yeah, Laverty going early shouldn't get a puncture, but I've seen stranger things happen on this game, and already Jack Laverty's managed to get his way ahead of Eduardo Gil. This race really not working well for the ET8 man. Tarabukin having a big slide coming through turn number 16, the final proper corner on this circuit. Is that going to allow Caden Lott to get a good run here for PSR on the run down towards turn number 1? Of course, Tarabukin is going to have the DRS, so that should give him a good chance of defending, and he's also closing on the way towards Patrick Sipos, as I think, Eduardo just slowing down there. Tarabukin comes into the pit, so he's reacting, as does Goetze, as does Papinta. Everyone just thinking about, do we react now to what Jack Laverty's done, or do we stay out for a few more laps? Interesting that both Race Clutch drivers have decided to stay out. You'd think with having both of their cars up there, might have been worth one of them just coming in and sort of reacting to what Laverty's done.
And actually Laverty has lost quite a bit to them. Well, no, he's actually overtaken them. I thought I was looking at the train between Jerne Dovzan, but he has cleared them with about 2.7 seconds there, so the undercut is quite powerful, and Laverty may not be out of this just yet, so it's looking pretty decent for Jack Laverty, maybe even Dylan Warren if he closes up ever so slightly. He's still in this with Lenny Papinta, Leonard Goetze and Andrew Tarabukin, so he's still not out of this fight just yet. Eduardo Gil pitting for the medium compounder tyres. He's hopefully can try and hope for a safety car later on to just try and save his race, but it's not over yet for Laverty all these guys that pitted early, but I was wondering if Pedreño and Sipos would try and pit after the end of that lap. They decided not to, so they're going to try and go for a little while longer alongside Donoso, Haladej and Lutz, who's decided to stay out. As Fabrizio just getting caught behind Jan Haladej at the moment, which is costing him a little bit of time, which is forcing him into the back of Izar and Juan Ruiz as well, with Villacampa doing well in P8 so far. As they come down the back straight, this is going to get fairly tasty, and I reckon Fabrizio Donoso may just have Jan Haladej as they come towards the back straight. Ruben Pedreño comes in towards the pit lane. He's signaling for the pit lane, so does Caden Lutz. So Pedreño and Lutz pit at the end of lap 7, but is this going to be enough? It's Lutz very, very aggressive in towards the pit lane, very, very fast there. But Donoso does clear. I think it was Jan Haladej who does pull in towards the pit lane. But Pedreño and Lutz, and also Haladej coming in early. But where is Jack Laverty in all this?
Where is Jack Laverty? I think he's going to be well clear of them. And in fact, I think Andrei Tavabukin, he's also going to be pretty clear of the two, of Pedreño as well. And you can see there, Andrei Tavabukin almost dropped Pedreño out of his DRS range. So definitely worth pitting on that lap. Jack Laverty, if he can keep his tyres in good state, he's broken that DRS window to Tavabukin. He's definitely broken it to Sipos, Donoso, those drivers that have stayed out. This is a brilliant opportunity for Jack Laverty to take his first win of the season. And as you mentioned, Dylan Warren's still on the back of this train. Yes, he's got older tyres. If we start seeing a few penalties, he's not out of this one despite that spin.
Oh, definitely not. Dylan Warren is still in this, and he's actually battling for P14 with Papinta and Lutt, who went side by side out of the pit lane. Lutt does lose a position to Tarabukin and to also Papinta as well. Pedreño is the biggest loser so far. He's currently stuck in a net P3, so it's only Sipos and Donoso left on the soft compound tyres. Wouldn't be surprised if they come into the pits at the end of this lap with Gilles still up the back of the field, 27 seconds back. Hopefully can hope for a safety car of his own, but it's getting a little bit tight down the bottom for the battle for P12 all the way up to about P18, so getting fairly interesting. Meanwhile, Bulam Izar getting the slipstream off Fabrizio Donoso, and Sipos and Donoso do pit. The two sports guys pull in towards the pit lane, and Bulam Izar for the first time will lead a TGC race here in Azerbaijan. But where will Sipos and Donoso come out in retrospect between Tarabukin, Laverty, Pedreño, Pinta, Lutz, Gertzer, Warren, and Haladej?
Yeah, I think it's Tarabukin and Pedreño you need to watch out for. Pedreño closing in onto the back of Andrei Tarabukin. Sipos and Donoso are going to be a long way down this field at the moment. And you can see Donoso has actually, by the looks of things, he's actually ended up dropping back behind Dylan Warren, and so has Patrick Sipos. That is how costly it was staying out there. The undercut, definitely the one. They've tried something different. They've tried to stretch those tyres out. How are they going to have enough grip on those tyres to really do anything at the moment? It is now, if we take a look at the drivers that have come into the pits, you can see that there, Laverty, Tarabukin, Pedreño, your net top three at the moment. The actual top three is Izar, De Juan and Villacampa, and Izar doing a good job at the moment. He's extending that gap to his teammate, got it up to about 1.4 seconds. We're going to have to watch out for these drivers, of course. They're going to lose now to those at the front. It won't be too long before Laverty is actually on the back of this train with, Dovzan, Towler and Duncan Hoffland. But once these cars are on for soft tyres, it's all going to be about where can they get the moves done, because being stuck in the DRS train is always going to make it hard. They might have to get imaginative with their overtakes, which is a very tough thing to do on a street circuit.
Yeah, definitely so. This is going to be very tough times for the likes of Tarabukin. You need to catch up to Jack Laverty. Tarabukin having a great job so far in a net P2, but he's got Ruben Pedreño to worry about. Obviously, he has that gap to Laverty, who's doing fantastically, but yeah, they're going to have to try some exotic overtakes. They want to get the job done as Oscar Villacampa moves up to P2 and breaks that 1-2 that FER had, and so does Primoz Muklevic in towards P3 as we move over to the battle once again. Here comes Ruben Pedreño trying to close up to Tarabukin as he wants to try and have a look down the inside, with London sending the fastest lap, and Pedreño just thinking better of it, a little bit too far behind this time around. But Bulam Izar, the one-hand man, looking absolutely fantastic so far. 1 second clear of Oscar Villacampa and gaining quite a bit, 1.2 out of turn 5 there. So he's looking good as Mr. Izar. So hopefully we can try and have a good race from there. But a safety car would definitely be pretty decent at this moment in time. If you get to about 27, 28, well, I'll get to about 17, 18, and there's a safety car, and Izar still leading, then you could see, we may not see the race change from here.
Yeah, it's just too early now for them to obviously get a safety car. They'd have to either put on the softs for a lap or the hards for a lap and then go back onto the mediums because you've got to use two different types of tyre, or they'd have to commit to the hards to the end. And as we've heard, they are not a good tyre whatsoever. We are following around them. Ruben Pedreno in a net third place at the moment on the back of Andrei Tarabukin. VSR and Race Clutch currently 1-2 in the championship of a team that are fourth in the championship, sorry, are Parnell Racing at the moment. They currently do have Jack Laverty in the net lead, and Tarabukin's trying to close that gap down. He's got it to over, it was 2.5 at one bit. It's now just hovering around that 2 second mark. Tarabukin very briefly there, getting to within 2 seconds of Jack Laverty. And I'm almost thinking, if Pedreno overtook Tarabukin, used the DRS to get ahead of him, and then Tarabukin had DRS for a bit, they might just be able to work together and pull in that gap with Laverty. Pedreno's tactic of seemingly, on previous laps, being quite happy to stick around. Yes, it's not allowing Tarabukin to save any ERS, and not really allowing him to do too much, but I don't think it's helping Pedreno out in the long term. The longer this goes on, I'd say the more likely it is that Jack Laverty wins this race. What the big issue for him is, how quickly can he work through the traffic of Dovzan, Towler, Hofland, and the rest of those going up on the mediums?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, but Tarabukin's defence has been quite interesting as well. We've weaved in quite a bit, so Pedreno won't get the slipstream, but he has to close up to Laverty. He has to pull Pedreno along to hopefully have any chance of winning this race. He's doing it so far. He's gained about 2/10 in these past couple of laps, but he's going to have to gain a little bit more if he wants to try and pull towards the race win with Ruben Pedreno. Not really looking to, well, not really interested in passing the McLaren driver so far. He's happy to stay behind, but he's doing all right so far as Tarabukin. He's doing quite well through the corners and already gaining about 3/10 through the castle section. So Tarabukin absolutely flying so far in P10 and could be closing up to Jack Laverty in a couple of laps time, and actually sort of gaps Pedreno by about only half a second so far, but Pedreno doesn't really have an answer at the moment.
I'll tell you who is flying as well all of a sudden towards the actual lead of this race, Oscar Villacampa. He's used a lot of his ERS, but he's managed to get that gap down to within a second on Bualem Izar, and they've dropped Miklavčić and the rest of that train. I don't think Villacampa's going to be close enough. I do think De Juan's going to be close enough to have a go, though, at the Challengers driver, who, of course, did start in last place. There's not much of a gap there between the Ferrari and the wall on the outside of the corner, but Arturo De Juan does get himself up into that third position. Hofland was pretty close as well. And we are seeing some moves further back. It looks like, oh, Dylan Woman, I think, maybe just pulling over there. Quite happy to let Sipos and Donoso get ahead of him. We are seeing a bit of a break in what was the lead train. Sipos, Donoso and Dylan Woman have all lost the ERS. They'll be determined to get themselves back up. They might be sitting ducks for those on the alternate strategy if they can't get onto the back of that train. I think Donoso, he's realising that. He's about to go down the inside in towards turn number 3. Fabrizio Donoso up into 16th, Sipos in 17th. Still some work to do, though.
Yeah, definitely so. As further up the field, Hofland getting the job done on Karapi down the inside. There, brilliant move from the VSR driver. One VSR driver in P5, the other trying to close up to the net lead in P10 with Tarabukin still holding Ruben Pedreno at bay. Pretty civil so far from all of the drivers, not lost anyone due to a crash or anything else so far. As and Warren obviously having that moment at turn 1, but he's still in this race. He's still caught up to the other drivers in the net positions. We're coming towards sector 2, then the leading cars in the top 6. So Bualem Izar is closing up. Well, Oscar Villacampa is closing up to Bualem Izar for the lead. So we may have a change in hands for the lead on track. Here comes Oscar Villacampa, 19% of ERS so far on that Aston Martin, so it's not looking good on his ERS front. With the DRS and in the slipstream, it's looking good on that point. Does he want to try and go for it down the inside? He's close enough. He's close enough. Goes down a gear to make sure he does it, so he's happy to stay behind at the moment. As Duncan Hofland closing up to Primoz Miklavčić once again. Nothing to do there, as there goes Ruben Pedreno, this time from the net lead. Gets the job done, so this time he gets the job done on Andrei Tarabukin, and this time he's not holding around. Pedreno takes the net lead with 1.3 of a gap between himself and Yoni Dobson as Jack Laverty passes him for the lead, and meanwhile Oscar Villacampa and Bualem Izar battling away for the lead.
Yeah, Villacampa getting ahead of Bualem Izar, then Miklavčić almost coming under pressure from Duncan Hofland, but just able to hold on. Miklavčić not able to get past De Juan. Not able to get back past De Juan at the moment. FER still in second and third. I wouldn't write them out for points just yet. The field is extremely compressed. Only 12 seconds separating the top 18 drivers. Once they come into the pits, they'll probably still be about 12, 13 seconds, I reckon, separating. Maybe possibly from, well, Laverty might be a bit further ahead, so maybe about 15, 16 seconds separating Laverty to Dovzan. It does look as though Dovzan is a bit further off this train. Shazoo not able to add to any of their points at the moment. Dovzan the only one to score points for Shazoo at the moment, and that was a 7th place the last time around at the British Grand Prix. But it is still Jack Laverty in the net lead of this race, and he's now onto the back of Marcus Towler, who does not have DRS. This is a perfect situation for Laverty. He keeps catching the cars up when they don't have the DRS, and with the lack of grip from their tyres, they're not really going to have any opportunity to fight and keep him back. You can see how close Laverty is getting. Could be ahead before he even activates DRS here. And likewise with Pedreno on Dovzan.
Yeah, definitely so. Here comes Pedreno. It should be a fairly easy move on Dovzan, and it is. Hopefully Tarabukin can try and follow him through as Fabrizio Donoso and Leonard Goetze get familiar with each other. Dovzan lets Tarabukin go. Donoso with the fast time of the Grand Prix. Massive slide there for Tarabukin. Goes off the track and lost all the position there. And there goes Therne Dovzan having a look down the inside, and Tarabukin having a massive moment under braking, lucky to not bend it in towards the wall. As here comes Caden Lutt trying to close up on Lenny Papinta, and Lenny Papinta closing up on Andrei Tarabukin. That was a massive moment for the VSR driver, and all that hard work trying to catch up with Laverty and Pedreno has all been washed down the drain, and now he's going to have to close up quite a bit if he wants to try and get this race back underway. But a huge moment for Tarabukin, a little bit too late on the brakes, and the rear axles lit up and almost going in towards the wall, and that would have been good night for Tarabukin.
Yeah, could be a costly mistake. I think Pedreno was trying to light up the rear tyres and get a good exit out of turn 6 to maybe attack Towler into 7. He's not been able to do so, and you can just see he's hemorrhaging time again back to Jack Laverty. The gap about 1.8 seconds at the moment. Now Laverty, though, is in a DRS train. It's just going to be that extra bit harder for him to make any moves on the likes of Karapi, Hofland, who we know will defend for all of his life, Miklevcic, De Juan Ruiz, Izar and Villacampa as he works his way through the field. And Pedreno still stuck behind Marcus Towler. That gap is up to about 2 seconds between Laverty and Pedreno now. This is going to be a brilliant opportunity for Pedreno to get ahead. But has that tiny mistake from turn number 6 cost him? How much has the mistake cost Andrei Tarabukin? He's been able to gain all that time back as he's not really been held up too much. And again, just trying to, maybe not sure whether he's braking for 6th steam, not sure whether he's just trying to try things out with his wheel, see if anything's a bit dodgy. It almost looked as though he was warming tyres earlier, which I sincerely doubt he was doing in this state in the race, as Jack Laverty has been able to get ahead of Karapi. He is now up into 6th place. Pedreno also ahead of Towler, and importantly, puts the car in between himself and Tarabukin.
Yeah, definitely so. Now it's crucial that Tarabukin gets past Towler at the earliest opportunity, but Towler's going to have a look at Pedreno, not caring anything about that there, as Pedreno forces him out wide, but there goes Towler, keeps him going, and there goes Tarabukin down the inside of Towler. It's crucial he got in front at the earliest opportunity, gets the job done. Papinta joins him down the inside, which turns in the outside, and there goes Papinta into P10, Tarabukin into P9, Pedreno up in towards P8, and Caden Lutt joins him in P7. Towler losing position after position, yellow flags, and that is Jan Halliday having a spin there. Not sure what has happened to him, but he's had a spin out of the exit there. Unfortunate to see as Leonard Goetze gets in front of Patrick Sipos. But Marcus Towler losing position after position after position, as here comes Patrick Sipos, gets back on Leonard Goetze. Tarabukin got in front of Towler at the earliest opportunity, and now can try and keep his hard work going and catch up to Pedreno.
Yeah, I think all that started with the spin, I think. The Halliday, everyone was closing up behind Marcus Towler, and whether there's been a tiny bit of contact in the train as everything's concertinaed up, I'm not quite so sure. Jack Laverty all over the back of Duncan Hofland then. Is Duncan be able to defend anything and maybe help Pedreno and the others catch up? There comes Jack Laverty. He was thinking about it down towards the inside. He's not been able to make it work at the moment, and still Hofland's trying to defend hard. All the way around the outside goes Jack Laverty. He's going to find himself running wide there. I'll be very interested to see whether he's got a warning, and he's not been able to make it work. Karapi's closed up, and Pedreno, more importantly for the race, has also closed up as well. Laverty used a lot of ERS in this. We said this might be the issue, and I think this is the first time we've seen him get close to the car in front and been unable to make the overtake. The good news for him Karapi is still in between himself and Pedreno, but the gap, which was 2 seconds only a couple of laps ago, is now down to 0.6.
Definitely so, and this is really interesting now. Jack Laverty really has to get a move on these cars because Pedreno is catching Andrew Karapi, who's in the middle of this battle for the net lead, if you like, with neither of these guys pitting yet. Should be probably seeing them into the pit lane about now or in the next couple of laps. Pedreno is going to try and get a good exit out of Karapi here as they come down the back straight. He's going to have to try and wait on the start finish straight in towards turn one to try and make a move, but Jack Laverty really putting the pressure on Duncan Hoffland, who's had a great Grand Prix from the back of the field. Currently in P5, obviously yet to pit alongside Marcus Dowler, who's yet to pit in P13. He's had a couple of troubles out of the exit. Proves Miklovic has a massive moment out of the exit. Eduardo Gil makes the first penalty of the day on lap 16. 3-second time penalty added to his time, but he's 25 seconds back. Nevertheless, so he will still be out of this race. Nevertheless, here comes Miklovic closing in on De Woos as they all come in towards the pit lane. A little bit interesting there, but they come into the pit lane nevertheless. Here comes Laverty on the back of Hoffland. Not quite close enough this time around, but there goes Pedreno down the inside of Karapi, and there goes Tarabukin. They're all bustling away very, very tight. Here comes Papinta to make it 3 wide. Down the inside goes Papinta. Tarabukin around the outside keeps it together. Brilliant racing to see. There is Jack Laverty. This time around gets past Duncan Hoffland, and it's getting a little bit tastier. There's Caden Lutt and Andrew Karapi. You have a little bit of team orders between each other, and Lutt goes past Karapi, but Papinta having a look on Tarabukin. The gap was there. It's very, very tight racing, and Tarabukin getting quite aggressive here, and the streets are back in.
Yeah, getting quite aggressive indeed. I think we are in the final 10 laps. Everyone's sort of remembered they've got to get their elbows out. If they want to start winning this race or getting a podium, now might be the time to start making some overtakes. Jack Laverty taking advantage of the fact that Duncan Hoffland no longer had DRS of the car in front after Miklovic and De Juan came into the pit. So Laverty now able to get himself up into third place. Only Villacampa and Izar ahead of him. Then it is Laverty. Then it is Duncan Hoffland, who's still yet to pit. Pedreno and Tarabukin rounding out the podium. As things stand now, we're very surprised if we don't see that changing. There's Caden Lutt in a net 5th place at the moment. Donoso, he's got himself ahead of Sipos, Goetze and Warren, who just seem to have dropped back that tiny little bit. And Mike and Halliday as well, obviously, who had that issue. They might be coming under pressure from De Juan, Miklovic and the others when they come into the pits in the not too distant future. Here is Jack Laverty though on the back of Boualem Izar. Will Izar come into the pits? He's sticking to the left hand side. And that is a line that says I'm coming into the pits if ever I have seen one. So Izar is in. Villacampa is staying out there. So he's going to take the lead of this race. Pedreno does get himself past Duncan Hoffland, who I'm fairly sure will try and let Tarabukin by as well and not hold his teammate up too much. Although Andre not really all over the back of Hoffland there. Now, Duncan could really do them a favour if he could somehow let Andre by and not let Papinta and the rest by. That would definitely be a hand. But Andre's just not close enough as things stand at the moment, as Laverty takes the lead of the race. Andre's not close enough, and trying to let someone by in the middle of the lap at Baku going to be extremely hard indeed.
Yeah, definitely is going to be tough. It's going to probably have to be down the back straight for Duncan, and hope he tries to defend as aggressively as he can on Lenny Papinta. There may be a couple of orders on the back straight, but it's definitely tough to let people go here without losing a position on your own at Baku. So you're going to have to be careful about it, VSR, but Robin Pedreno closing up to the back of Villacampa, but he's about 1.1 seconds back on Jack Laverty at the moment, but it's getting quite close in this battle for which is now the lead of the Grand Prix. Laverty taking the lead of it as they make their way through and towards Sector 3 now. Papinta all over the back of Tarabukin. Tarabukin has done well to catch up to Duncan Hoffland, but Hoffland 7 tenths, 8 tenths back on Pedreno, but here comes Pedreno closing up on Oscar Villacampa, who's lost the DRS to Laverty, so it should be a fairly easy move for Laverty. Oscar Villacampa 3% on his DRS, so easy as you like surely for Pedreno. Now it's Pedreno's chance to close up as best as he can. Here comes Tarabukin as Duncan Hoffland does decide to come in towards the pit lane, so no need for any tactical incidents to happen for the VSR guys, as Jack Laverty takes the lead in towards P1 and Rupert Pedreno P2 as Andrew Tarabukin takes P3 as Eduardo Gil has actually had a crash out of Sector 2 and the safety car has been deployed. This is brilliant news for Villacampa, Hoffland and Fowler. as they take in towards the pit lane with 7 laps to go, and this has really turned on its head.
This is, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Eduardo Hill just getting it wrong. Looked like it was the exit of turn number 15. We've seen many lose it there in real life. If you hop over the curb too much, I'm not sure if that's what's happened. If you do hop over the curb too much, you can definitely hit the wall. Trust me, I've done it on many occasions. There's not too many walls I haven't found. I'm on the Baku City Circuit. Jonas Martins is summing it up. Chaos, here we come. There was a 6-second gap between Miklevcic, lead car on the soft tyres, and Haladej, last car on the mediums. That is going to be nothing once the safety car comes in. And those on the mediums are going to really struggle, I think, over the next few laps to keep everyone behind. No one's got any penalties. Pick a name out of a hat now as to who's going to win this race. I would not be surprised if any of these 18 end up on the podium.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm just wondering now if it's worth for the medium guys to come in for the soft compound tire if they have a fresh set spare. It's definitely worth it, but do they want to risk track position to the guys on the alternate strategy? Because if they do, then Miklevich is in the lead of this race with Alfred Dahan in P2 and Buram Izar in P3. This is all going to turn on its head in a matter of moments here. Here comes Jack Lavity coming towards the final couple of corners here. Will he decide to come into the pit lane? He's turning to the left a bit, and I think Lavity is going to pull into the pit lane. So does Pedreño, so will Tarabukin, so will Papente. He's pulling to the right a bit. Does he pull into the pit lane? Yes, he does. Caden Lutt decides to stay out. No, he doesn't. He's coming to the pit lane. Yes, he does decide to stay out. A very late call at Haas. Danoso stays with him. Patrick Simple stays with him. Goetze stays with him. Warren comes into the pit lane. They're double stacking at AlphaTauri. Haladej stays out. And this is going to flip on its head. Caden Lutz currently leads the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and can he get a race win on debut for PSR?
Yeah, can he get away? It'd be a superb win. PSR, who weren't even in this league a week ago, could have a chance at a race win. Miklevcic and Juan are ahead of Lavity and Pedreño. Izar's also got himself in the middle of that with Villacampa as well. 5 drivers staying out. Lot, Donoso, Sipos, Goetze, and Haladej thinking it was worth it. It's great to see a bit of a mix. Drivers not really knowing what to do. Absolutely fantastic. 7 laps to go here. Lut leads from Donoso, who lead from Sipos. Those are your top 3. Miklevcic, lead car on the soft tyres. Jack Lavity, lead car on the brand new soft tyres. We're probably only going to have, once the safety car comes in, we might only have, I doubt it's going to come in this lap, so probably 5 laps of racing to go. Soft tyres should make it towards the end. DRS will only be activated for the final 3 of those. It's gonna be brave, I think, from some of these drivers on the softs if they want to make some moves. Lutz and Donoso are just hoping that Haladej, Goetze and Sipos can just try their best to hold off the pack on the red wall tyres.
It's definitely going to be interesting. George Nader in the chat saying the softs will make it 5-6 laps on the softs. It's definitely a tough order at Baku, but I think it's probably going to be possible for the pits, well, for them to make the distance, but 71% is the same, but it's going to be interesting. Caden Lutt right now in a good position, but so is Donoso, and so is Sipos, and so is Goetze, so is Haladej. They could be in for a podium, and then at the end of the night, Lutt is looking for a win, but Donoso obviously looking for a bit of redemption. He wants this win just as much as Caden Lutt does. He was robbed of it, if you like. I wouldn't like to say that word, but as a few people would like to say from Silverstone with a late penalty, but he's going to have to try his best to get this race win now. We're going to be going underway on probably lap 22 of 26, so we're going to have about 5 laps of racing, of going green, so it's going to be interesting from here with Caden Lutt leading, but the soft compounder tyres drivers going to have to get a move on it very, very swiftly if they're not going to make it from here.
Yeah, and it's going to be an intriguing restart. We spoke about this briefly in the pre-qualifying segment. It is a long run down from the final corner to turn number 1. Caden Lutt, if he goes too soon, he could be a bit of a sitting duck. So don't be surprised if Lutt leaves it until the absolute last second to put the hammer down, which is perfectly legal, but normally when you see it, there's all sort of carnage in the background as drivers are slowing down to make sure they don't overtake the one in front. It is very hard to judge sometimes in that situation when you're the 3rd or 4th car. We saw what happened in Mugello in 2020 at the Tuscan Grand Prix, where cars in front where cars behind thought the ones in front have gone. And there was all manner of accident. Hopefully, we won't see anything on that scale. Lutt leading, Donoso second, Sipos in third place. Miklevcic, Ruiz and Laverty, the lead car on the soft tyres. Is it going to make a big difference that Miklevcic and Ruiz have done 2 laps extra on their softs to what we've seen from Laverty and Pedreno, who've only driven on them under the safety car? Or do we not think that's going to have too much of an effect?
I think from what the chat is saying, it's probably going to have a huge effect. 71% on completely fresh tyres. It's going to be interesting to the 3 laps they've already done with Miklevcic, Ruiz, Izar and Co on the 2 laps. So it's going to be interesting for those guys, but do have the extra grip available to them just about. It's how much they've been pushing on those outlaps to make sure that the grip is there, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. No interesting, especially in Vettel. Lewis Hamilton moves from Lutz or Donoso, which is good to see. Safety car is now in this lap, so it's crucial that Primož Miklevich gets closer to Haladej, and it's crucial that Donoso gets close to Lutz, and it's crucial for Sipos to get closer to Donoso, and it's crucial for Goetze to get closer to Sipos. It's definitely going to be interesting. Lutz is going to back them well up towards the field. We're going to have 5 laps of flat-out racing with 5 drivers on the mediums, the rest on fresh, soft compound tyres. 5 laps to go. We're about to go green for the final 5-lap dash here in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, should be absolutely brilliant here. They're all going to be trying to predict, I think, when the car in front is going to go. And talk about pressure. First race in this series for PSR. What can Caden Lott do in this situation? Sipos is almost going alongside Donoso. You can see some of the arrows in the background. And there we go. Caden Lott has gone. And I think that is about as good as a restart as he could have hoped to have got. Haladej is all over the back of Leonard Goetze, and Miklevcic is all over the back of him as well. It is going to be Lott, Donoso, Sipos, your top 3. Haladej almost going 3 wide with Goetze, and Miklevcic almost in the wall as well. And this might be an opportunity for Goetze or Miklevcic to get ahead of him. Goetze now in 4th, Haladej in the wall. Laverty's got ahead of him as well, and Ruiz will surely work his way through. I'll be surprised if there's not damage on him. Surely Miklevcic is going to be allowed past his teammate as well. There we go, he's now up into 4th place. So it is Lott, Donoso, Sipos. We've got Haladej just dropping down the order. Oscar Villacampa getting pretty close to Bualem Izar, going into the back of Haladej, who's really struggling now. And that might give some of these others a try. Tarabukin, we're almost 3 wide into turn number 5. Surely someone is going to have to yield in all of this, and they've just about come away unscathed. The camera angle's not really helping too much. 3 wide into 7. That's not going to work out. And Tarabukin does come out ahead of this one. And if you don't calm down before the castle section, someone is going to end up with no wheels. And I think they all realised that they just had to back off of that one. But it is Lott in the lead from Donoso. Sipos in 3rd place. Miklevcic, Laverty, Pedreno. Now your lead cars on the soft tyres. Goetze and Haladej really losing out in that one.
How the hell have they lost? Have they kept that without any damage? That is brilliant to see, but a fantastic restart there. Away goes very slow and immediately on the throttle, but Donoso is still within the 5/10 of a second as Tarabukin gets the job done on Haladej in P2 as immediately Lutz starting to weave like crazy to try and break the toe from Donoso as they make their way on lap 23 or 26. They're going to have the DRS on about lap 24, 25 I believe, so about 2-3 laps of DRS racing. It may be enough for Lutz. He's going to have to hope that he's in P2 on the penultimate lap to make sure he has the DRS on Donoso on the final corner. It's going to get very tight from here, but I think Donoso is going to have to be very wise of this to make sure he is in P2 when it comes to the final couple of laps. As Goetze round the outside of Tarabukin, these guys battling all the way through. This time Tarabukin getting his arbors out. He's been brilliant to watch tonight, getting so aggressive but fair, and brilliant to see there. Tarabukin up into P9 as Villacampa. Haladej 3 wide there. Haladej having none of that, letting everyone go as Dylan Warren diving it down the inside of Papinta. Papinta with a switchback move there on Dylan Warren. They go side by side and they get the job done as Oscar Villacampa having a look down Leonard. Is battling everywhere you look. Oscar Villacampa getting it just before. Yellow flags. That's Duncan Hoffland in the wall, I believe, somewhere around that lap. Unfortunate to see, and he's down at the back of the field. Not sure if there's damage to that Mir Star car, but it's getting very tight here as Caden Lutz and Fabrizio Donoso separated by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, they're separated by 4/10 of a second. Sipos is a bit further back. Jack Laverty all over the back of Miklevcic. Maybe, just maybe, having those fresher medium tyres was the way to go at the moment. DRS will be activated next time around. And we're going to see first to ninth in one DRS train at the moment. And I think Laverty, he's not going to be bothered about waiting for the DRS. I think he wants to go for the move sooner rather than later. Can he think about one on the run down towards turn number 1 just to back it up with slipstream? And you saw how much pace he lost when he did that. Is he going to go for the dive bomb down into turn number 1? Goes Laverty. There's a bit of contact. And for the second time this race, we see a Parnell driver around at turn number 1. Earlier it was Dylan Warren. Now it is Jack Laverty. Any chance he has of scoring any points is ruined, and he retires from the race. It looked like he was far enough alongside to be left some space, but he didn't really fully commit for that move.
That was never going to work in a month of Sundays. I'm sorry, Jack, but that was never going to work down that inside. The door was always going to close. He should have probably waited for a better opportunity, and any points are now sent spinning and drifting away for Jack Laverty. There's still points on offer for Dylan Warren, but the main battle for the win is going to be between Caden Lutt, Fabrizio Donoso, Patrick Sipos, Primoz Miklevcic and Ruben Pedreño. Between the top 8, probably anyone could win this at the moment, with Oscar Villacampa having a sniff as well. It's all going to be happening on this final 2 laps of this race. We're going to have DRS on lap 25 of 26. And Caden Lutt is going to have to play this very, very smart if he wants to try and win this race. They come towards the final couple of corners. They're going to have 2 rounds left to go. And it's going to be very, very tasty from here. Donoso all over the back of the debutant of Caden Lutt.
Yeah, Donoso all over the back of Caden Lutt. Donoso feels like he should have got the victory last time out. He might soon only be 2 laps away from taking the victory here. I can't see a lot that Caden Lutt's going to be able to do to keep the Aston Martin behind him. There he goes, pulls out of the slipstream. Donoso ahead. Before we get to the start-finish line, that might be important for the final lap of the race. Gets the move done. He's into the lead. Pedreño has got ahead of Miklevcic. Tarabukin going down the inside of Arturo de Juan Ruiz there. Fully committed to that move, as we've seen all race from the VSR man. And that is Tarabukin now up in towards 6th place. Miklevcic was able to fight back on Pedreño. Will Pedreño be able to fight back again into turn number 3? Not on this occasion. So it is now Donoso, Lutt, Sipos, Miklevcic in 4th, not moving up, I think, as much as he would have wanted to, and as much as everyone else would have wanted to. He's really been a cork in the bottle, and that is helping our front 3 out massively.
Yeah, definitely. So this is going to help the likes of Sipos, Lutt and Donoso. Donoso did well to make sure he was in the lead there going down the back straight, but I think Lutt is just taking this a little bit carefully to make sure he's behind Donoso. But Donoso gapping by about 0.8 of a second, almost dropping out of the DRS. Lutt is going to have to really push now. Donoso is putting in some pretty decent sector times, and about 0.9. He's now lost the DRS as Lutt to Donoso. He's going to have to use a lot of DRS to try and catch up, as Patrick Sipos sniffing all over the bag a little bit too late of a break in. He's almost in towards the wall. Lutt has lost the DRS unless he can find something special in sector 3. ERS is going to have to be used a lot for Lutt, but DRS is going to be in favour of Fabrizio Donoso. He gets the job done. This might be the victory for Fabrizio Donoso, and going to TF10. It's a huge incident there for Lutt, having a little bit of a slide on the exit, and Ruben Pedreño has got the job done on Primoz Miklevcic, shoving him to the wall there, but Fabrizio Donoso may have this race win. Here comes Patrick Sipos to the right on the racing line. Patrick Sipos gets the job done. The final lap, Fabrizio in the lead. Patrick Sipos P2, Lutt in P3. It's just to make sure he keeps his podium now.
Yeah, Lutt just trying to hold on to the back. Had a really, really weird lap that time. Unable to keep on the back of Donoso. And this might be important. Sipos has still got the DRS. Can he get close enough? Can he use enough ERS to get the move done? Can Ruben Pedreño send one down the inside of Caden Lutt and make it 2 race clutch drivers on the podium? He's gone for it. There's contact. Lutt's in the wall. And that might give Tarabukin a chance to go all the way around the outside. He loves the moves round the outside. That gives him the inside line for turn number 4. Not 5, I should say. And Tarabukin is now up into 4th place. Caden Lutt, I don't think we'll be too happy about that one. Apparently, Primoz Miklevcic had some damage, so that might be why we're struggling a bit on those tyres. Dylan Warren trying to go round the outside there of Izor, who nearly sends one of his teammate, and then he makes contact with his teammate. Warren, in the end, comes out ahead of that. There could be some penalties in this race, and they will make a massive, massive difference with how ganged up the field and how close they are at the moment. But it is Donoso 7/10 of a second ahead, escaping from the DRS on the lap before. Could well be the crucial thing. Has Patrick Sipos got anything to fight with? 30% on his battery suggests to me that unfortunately he hasn't got anything. The DRS train really closed things up. The safety car closed things up. We didn't know what was going to happen. It looks like staying out was the right tactic. Fabrizio Donoso heading down the start-finish straight for the final line. He's used up all of his ERS. He will not care one bit. Crosses the line. It's a win for Donoso here in Baku. Sipos and Pedreno make it a double race clutch podium. The first time we've seen that this season, as long as there are no penalties. Tarabukin is 4th, Caden Lutt 5th on debut. Miklavcic, Ruiz, Warren, Izar and Papinta round out the rest of the points. It was a bit of a tame race right up until that safety car, and from then on, staying out proved to be the right thing, and Donoso getting away from Caden Lutt has possibly secured him his first win of the season.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the race win for Fabrizio there. A fantastic drive from him there, getting the job done. And this time he can take the victory. 2 for 2 on track. Gets the win provincially this time around. Got the job done. And Fabrizio Donoso can finally relax and take home the victory for TF10. A great drive for Race Clutch as well, securing the P2 and P3 on the podium. And definitely probably going to be leading the championship after this one. But what a drive, what a race we were treated to there. And it is going to be Fabrizio Donoso, who takes his first win in TGC and his first win in TF10 colours. What a drive from him. And he started from 10th from the grid and wins the Grand Prix.
Yeah, wins the Grand Prix. It is Fabrizio Donoso then. These are provisional results. I feel like we've said that a lot this season. Donoso takes the victory. Sipos and Pedreno 2nd and 3rd for a race clutch. Tarabukin 4th after so many near spins. He definitely had an exciting race. Caden Lutt so close to getting a podium on debut. He has to settle for 5th place. Miklavcic 19th to 6th for good drive. Was of course that incident with Jack Laverty. Duhan in 7th. Dylan Warren in 8th. Boulahim making it the first time this season. FVR have got both of their drivers in the top 10 there. Does Izar Papinta. Could only manage 1 point today in 10th. Via Camber, Leonard, Karapin, Marcus Towler, Duncan Hoffland, Yerne Dovzan, Jan Haladej setting the fastest lap at the end. Won't get a point for that as he was outside the top 10. We saw Jack Laverty retire after being spun around, and Eduardo Hill, his retirement, cause for safety car from what was a very dramatic race. We'll be debriefing it soon. We'll hopefully hear from our top 3. We'll see you in a moment. Yeah, very exciting end then to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. It was a victory for Fabrizio Donoso, his first of the season, a double podium for Race Clutch. Porno Racing having qualified in 1st and 3rd. It just did not seem to go well for him. Possibly, you know, a bit of contact, it sounds like, between Sipos and Dylan Warren, which we didn't really catch too much on stream. We definitely caught the one between Miklavcic and Laverty, though.
In all honesty, I think Jack is probably to blame now. Obviously, he was sort of enough in line to get the job done, but I think that gap was always going to close in a month of Sundays, and I think he should have probably left a little bit, well, he should have waited a little bit more on that lap, but we'll have to wait and see what the stewards think about that one, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with that one, but a great drive from Fabrizio Donoso to take the win, and takes a win for TF10, and also a good day for Race Clutch, taking that 2 and 3 and getting the job done there as well. So good day for Race Clutch. I think they probably will take the lead in the championship after that one, as VSR didn't have the greatest of race. Obviously, Andrew Tarabukin was fantastic for me. I think probably driver of the day will go to him. Obviously aggressive, but definitely fair. But yeah, he had a great win there. But great drive there, but Fabrizio Donoso was definitely brilliant from 10th on the grid.
Yeah, did a superb job. It doesn't seem like it's letting me drag Donoso into the commentary box, so we're going to try something very brave here, which could backfire if everyone ends up deciding to join the general chat. So I think if we just pop our way over to general, hopefully Josh will be able to follow along soon. And Fabrizio, can you hear us?
I can.
Congratulations on your first win of the season. It looked like you got it last week until it was taken away from Stewards. Getting outside of that DRS range on the penultimate lap from Caden turned out to be the important thing.
Yeah, it's good to finally win on track and at the end of the race. After the race, I meant. So yeah, it's a quite a good payback from last week and from quali where I crashed unfortunately. I knew I had the upper end with the setup that I had for the race. I knew it was gonna be good, especially towards the end of the stints, where everyone seemed to struggle a bit with the massive tire wear that we have on this track. So I think that won me the race tonight. We stayed long. That was planned from the beginning, to pit as late as possible. And I think that after the safety car, we had the car in front. I think that was also very useful for the penultimate lap where I could just do my pace and at the end, yeah, I managed to broke that DRS gap that covered me for the last lap, and pretty much just had to finish that lap, and that's it. Finally, a win. It was not easy, but I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely a good comeback as well, especially after disconnecting towards the end of qualifying. Did you think at all about coming in for the soft tyres, or were you always going to do the opposite of what a lot of the cars in front of you did, just to give yourself that track position?
It was a last-minute call, to be fair, with the boys. So pretty much we said if everyone stays out, we go for the soft. But I saw a lot of people coming in, so I knew there were gonna be a lot of cars for them to overtake. And well, I had two mediums runners actually behind me that would cover me anyways for I hoped a few laps, which happened. And yeah, that was pretty much nailed strategy and reading the race there.
Yeah, definitely a brilliant job for yourself and TF10. Josh, any questions for our race winner?
Fabrizio, that was a fantastic race on your part, 10th to 1st, obviously with that crash in qualifying, which was definitely hurting your spirits there, I probably assume. Was it tough? Do you think the race win was probably going to be enough, starting from 10th on the grid?
Well, we just had to keep it clean for the race, which I did. I knew it was I was gonna finish up ahead. The win, I think, wasn't maybe in contention without the safety car. Maybe a top 5 for sure, maybe top 3 if I really nailed the last few laps. But I don't think that the win was in my hands without the safety car. I think there was way too many cars ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, we've got Jeddah next week at Saudi Arabia. If you are chosen, do you think you'll be confident around that track?
I'd like to say yes. I'll practice for sure, and we'll see where the pace is. But lately, I think it's been very good with the practice that I'm doing. I think it's fine the way it is. So I should be on pace, but never too confident.
Absolutely. So, well, your first win in TF10 covers. Congratulations on your win, and good luck for the next race at Jeddah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, certainly. Congratulations, Fabrizio. Thanks for joining us in the commentary box. We'll let you head off.
Thank you. Good night.
So that was Fabrizio. I don't believe Patrick or Ruben will be joining us. So much going off in that race. You know, sounds like he had it all in hand. It was just that slight mistake in qualifying that ended up costing him in the end, making it work from 10th place. Interestingly, that he said going long was for strategy, because we were both sat there thinking, this is the wrong decision, but that's why we're commentators and not out there racing.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, it's going to be interesting if you do pit or not. Obviously, the soft drivers, some did do well. Obviously, Tarabukin and Pedreno probably benefited the most, but it's definitely interesting how it plays out with that one. But it's good to see a few drivers staying out. Obviously, those mediums on another day, on another track, they may have got swallowed up by the soft runners, but this time around the mediums did play around. Obviously, Caden Lutt obviously leading away, just didn't have the grip at the end, I don't think, and just got swallowed up by a lot of the drivers on the fresher mediums. So I think on another day, then he probably would have got the win. But in all honesty, it was a great drive from the rest of them, and staying out decided was the better factor in that one. But great drive from Fabrizio. Obviously, I know that we never really did him in that one. Obviously, you can't write off Fabrizio Donoso in any other way. You know, starting from P10, had some issues for qualifying. Obviously, with that disconnection, hurt his race, or hurt his qualifying. Definitely could have been up there and probably won it by a little bit more. But that's racing. Sometimes that's league racing. Those things do happen. We're not in a LAN event or not in the real life cars, so disconnections are always going to happen. But it's great to see Fabrizio on the top step there, finally getting that official win. I don't think he had any incidences or is misdemeanors that would probably get him a penalty, but we'll have to wait and see. But a great drive from Fabrizio Donoso, and definitely deserves that win tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and you've got to wonder how different things could have been for those on the soft tyres, Miklevcic and Laverty. We've already spoke about Miklevcic getting a tiny bit of damage, Laverty having that spin, and that possibly just made it a bit easier for those on the medium tyres. I think Tarabukin and Caden Lott, both their first races here tonight in the Global Championship, definitely as well for PS, obviously their first race of the season. They had some very interesting action.
Yeah, absolutely. Caden doing very, very well on debut, leading the way for a little bit, getting P5 in the end. A brilliant race he had, and Tarabukin was fantastic, flying up the order all the way through, really proving his worth at VSR, and definitely deserving of his good points today. So we can definitely expect a lot from Tarabukin, especially tonight, which is fantastic to see. Definitely one of the young talents coming in towards the next couple of years. But yeah, fantastic drive from him tonight, and definitely looking forward to see him in the next season. Same with Caden Lutt. PSR on another day can definitely challenge for the podiums and challenge for the wins with Caden Lutt. So they've got a lot to offer this season, and hopefully can try and get up there, maybe try and get a podium next race at Jeddah.
Yeah, you can see the updated, you'll be all glad to know, calendar now for the rest of the season. You thought Azerbaijan was crazy. We've got Jeddah to get us ready for the halfway point of the season. Make sure to join us here at the TGC next week then for that one. Thank you so much for Josh for commentating with myself today. Thanks so much as well for Fabrizio for joining us in the commentary box for the interviews. And thanks to all you guys for watching and joining at home. A very fascinating Baku Grand Prix, and as we see quite often at Azerbaijan, once the safety car comes out, all hell breaks loose, and it was Donoso who dealt with it the best to take his first win of the season. Will he make it 2 from 2? We'll 2 from 2 races in a row next time out at Jeddah. Will we see VSR heading out on top? Will Parnell Racing finally get the result that their pace deserves? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you once again for joining us, and we will see you in a week's time in Saudi Arabia. Goodbye.